Chapter 427. Chapter 427 Phone Robbery. You're right, I can't do it every day. Yushu said as she stuck her tongue out. Can't you stop doing stupid things like that? Mengyao said helplessly. Alright. Yao Yao, what kind of tree do you think we should buy? Yushu asked timidly as she shrunk her head back. Something a little prettier, something a little more normal? Mengyao didn't understand stuff like that. How about a fruit tree? Why did you bump into me? A young man bumped into Mengyao, causing her to stumble and almost fall to the ground. The young man quickly apologized. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose, I was in a hurry to move the goods. Oh, it's nothing? Mengyao frowned, deciding not to argue with the guy since he said it wasn't intentional. Wait. The guy was about to leave when Lin Yi pulled him back. What are you doing? The guy's eyes flashed with wariness and Mengyao looked at Lin Yi, not quite sure what was going on. She'd already let it go, so why was Lin Yi holding a grudge now? Take out your phone. Lin Yi said faintly. Phone? What phone? The guy was clearly panicking, but he started yelling all of a sudden. It's a robbery, someone's trying to steal my phone. Someone come quickly. The guy's yelling attracted the attention of the people around them, and they all came over to watch the commotion. What's going on? A couple of security guards walked over to the guy. He's trying to rob me and he asked for my phone? The guy said innocently. Yeah, I can prove it. This guy doesn't know what's right or wrong, he's asking for his phone. Someone in the crowd interrupted all of a sudden. Oh, if that's the case, follow me to the security room then. The leader of the security guard said as he looked at Lin Yi, his eyes lingering on Mengyao and Yushu behind him, a perverted look in his eyes. Lin Yi, what's going on? Mengyao was getting a little pissed off. They were here to buy saplings, what was Lin Yi doing? Stopping a stranger and asking for his phone? Your phone was stolen by him. Lin Yi shrugged and looked at Mississippi. My phone? Mengyao's face changed as she touched her pocket. The phone that was originally in his pocket had disappeared. You mean he stole my phone? Yes, why else would I stop him? Lin Yi nodded. Hey, don't fucking slander me. Who took your phone? The young man puffed out his chest and shouted confidently, if you say that I took your phone, then why don't you take a look? You turned off your phone long ago. Lin Yi glanced at him and said faintly. Lin Yi clearly saw through his little cleverness. Alright, that's enough. Follow me to the security room, and we'll be able to tell who's right and who's wrong when we get there. The captain evidently didn't want Lin Yi to say anything more as he pushed him away. Lin Yi's eyes narrowed as he guessed what was going on. This security captain was in cahoots with the thief. You two wait for me in the car. Never mind, stay with me. Lin Yi wanted to let Mengyao and Yushu wait in the car first, but thinking of the perverted look in the security captain's eyes, Lin Yi didn't feel at ease. It was better to let them stay with him. Zhou Ruoming only returned to school when it was almost time for school to end. He asked a few of his lackeys and was relieved to hear that Lin Yi didn't look for him or ask about him. It seemed like Lin Yi couldn't be bothered with him anymore. At first, Zhou Ruoming thought that Lin Yi didn't kill him because he didn't want to fall out with him, but today he truly understood that Lin Yi didn't care about him at all. If he wanted to kill him, he would have done it a long time ago. Just like Uncle Yen today. So what if he was a golden class master? Didn't he still get stepped on by Lin Yi? As long as he understood this, Zhou Ruoming wasn't afraid anymore. As long as he didn't offend Lin Yi in the future, there shouldn't be a problem. Ming bro, are we going to join the tree planting tomorrow? It was Zhou Ruoming's #1 lackey Yun Lingxi. Of course. Zhou Ruoming was very proud when he heard about tree planting. Look at the forest behind the school. There were at least 3 or 4 trees planted by Zhou Ruoming. 1 tree a year. He'd been in high school for 3 or 4 years now. Everyone else only had 1 tree, but Zhou Ruoming had several. Who could compete with him? Every time he planted a tree, Zhou Ruoming would be especially proud. As they spoke, Zhou Ruoming's phone rang again. It was his father, Zhou Tiandi. Tiandi was getting more and more scared the more he thought about it. He discussed it with Zhou Ruoguang and comforted himself for a while, but the more he thought about it, the more he felt uneasy. And so, he decided to ask his youngest son, Zhou Ruoming, about what happened back then. He wanted to know what Lin Yi meant. It was easy to invite a god in, but hard to send him away. Offending a god like Lin Yi wasn't going to end well. Where are you right now? Tiandi asked. Dad, I'm at school. School just ended. What's up? Zhou Ruoming asked. Come to my company, I have something to ask you. I'll pick you up at school right now. Tiandi said. He didn't send a car to pick Zhou Ruoming up every day in order to make him study hard. He didn't think that this would give Zhou Ruoming even more freedom. No one would see him do bad things, and that made him even more reckless. I'm going to the flower bird fish market at home. Our school is starting to plant trees again tomorrow. I'll go look for a sapling, Zhou Ruoming said. Then wait for me at school. I'll be right there, Tiandi said. About 10 minutes later, Tiandi drove the BMW that Lin Yi had destroyed to the school. The appearance of the car annoyed Tiandi, but pissing off Lin Yi made him even more annoyed. Zhou Ruoming got in the car and Tiandi asked impatiently, "You know Lin Yi?" "Of course I do. He slapped me a couple of times at school, he's my biggest enemy." Zhou Ruoming nodded. "I had my eyes on his girl, but who knew he was that strong?" Tiandi almost rolled his eyes at that. His whole family was Lin Yi's enemy, wasn't it? Tiandi felt the urge to cry. Chapter 428. Chapter 428, Catching a Couple of Thieves. It was also because of this that Tiandi had developed a temper. His son, Zhou Ruoguang, wouldn't be this cocky otherwise, even if he was the leader of the North District's gangsters. But today he'd run into an iron plate like Lin Yi. His biggest support wasn't working. He's not just a match for him. Uncle Yen didn't even get to do anything, and Lin Yi sent him flying with one slap. That's an instant kill. Zhou Ruoming was terrified just thinking about it. It seemed that Lin Yi hadn't used his full strength when he'd slapped him, otherwise Uncle Yen would have been sent flying and his own head would have been gone as well. Instant kill. Tiandi's lips twitched. He'd thought that Uncle Yen had been defeated after he fought Lin Yi, but now it seemed that Lin Yi was far stronger than Faubert. "Ruoming, do you think we should buy some gifts and go visit Lin Yi and apologize?" Tiandi asked after some thought. I don't know, but I don't think that's possible right now. Zhou Ruoming shook his head. "Lin Yi's pissed right now, wouldn't it be suicide if we went? We'll go apologize after things calm down a bit. That should be fine, right?" "That's true." Tiandi nodded. "I'll see if I can use my connections to visit Uncle Yen and get a feel for Lin Yi's true strength." "That works. Know yourself and know your enemy and you'll win every battle." Zhou Ruoming made up an idiom. "Win every battle, my ass. Even if you know how strong he is, we won't be able to win. Unless we know someone stronger." Tiandi cursed. "Just us. Don't even think about it for the rest of our lives. Man, I guess that's the only way." Aside from the fear, Zhou Ruoming wasn't willing to give up. Being bullied and having to endure it made him very uncomfortable. Tiandi parked the car in front of the market and got out with Zhou Ruoming. This market was opened by Zhou Tiandi, and with Zhou Ruoguang's men watching over the place, there wouldn't be any problems. The yearly rent alone was tens of millions and it was a profitable business. "Motherfucker, who parked their broken car in my exclusive parking space?" Tiandi cursed with a frown. There weren't any signs of parking spaces in front of the entrance, but they'd still take up space when there were a lot of cars. However, there weren't many cars today and this spot was occupied. Naturally, Tiandi wasn't happy about it. This was his exclusive parking spot every time he came here. "It's just a broken piece of bread. Get someone to ask which business owner used this cart to transport goods. It needs to be cleaned up, right? Tell Ruoguang to find them some money tomorrow." Tiandi was pissed, so he vented his anger elsewhere. "Huh." Zhou Ruoming got off the car and looked in the direction of his father's scolding. He almost stumbled and fell to the ground. He recognized that Mini wasn't that Lin Yi's car. "Dad, stop, please stop, look at the license plate." Zhou Ruoming quickly stopped his father from cursing, afraid that Lin Yi would hear him. "What's wrong with the license plate? What's so nice about a license plate?" Tiandi didn't think much of it as he walked into the market with his big belly. "It's Lin Yi's car," Zhou Ruoming said. "Lin Yi's here at the market? What?" Tiandi jumped in fright upon hearing that it was Lin Yi's car. Thank goodness he hadn't asked the security guards to tow the car away, otherwise the consequences would have been unimaginable. Tiandi broke out in a cold sweat as he turned to leave. "Ruoming, let's go, let's not stay here." Zhou Ruoming hesitated. He hadn't gotten his sapling yet, and it wasn't a coincidence that he'd run into Lin Yi, was it? "Let's go to the office and come out after Lin Yi leaves?" "That works too." Tiandi nodded and walked into the market with Zhou Ruoming. The security guard at the entrance saw Tiandi and called out loudly. "Mr. Zhou, don't make a sound. Don't shout." Tiandi was about to explode. What was he shouting for? What if Lin Yi heard him? The security guard paused, not understanding what was going on. Could it be that Tiandi had brought some people with him to visit the market incognito? To check on the situation in the market? Thinking of this, the security guard felt that it was very possible, so he quickly nodded. "Okay. I won't say any more." Tiandi and Zhou Ruoming slipped into the manager's office like ghosts. The manager of the market, Xia Fenpian, had just received a report from his security captain, saying that they'd caught a rich guy and two pretty girls. They'd investigated their backgrounds and all they did was drive an old van. They couldn't be powerful people. And so Fenpian prepared to go down and take advantage of them. Stealing a phone. So he'd just take off his clothes and search them. Fenpian was more than willing to do that. Of course, he didn't dare do anything more than that, because he was afraid that something would go wrong. Searching a thief might be a bit overboard, but it wouldn't cause too much trouble. Fenpian was just getting excited when he raised his head to see Tiandi and Zhou Ruoming barging in. He jumped. Did they know what he'd done? But, according to Fenpian's understanding, Zhou Tiandi wasn't a good person either. He was a troublemaker for the young girls in the company, and this was what they meant when they said that a crooked stick would have a crooked shadow. Tiandi's family, Zhou Ruoguang and Zhou Ruoming, as well as his underlings, weren't good people. Fenpian was only acting so recklessly because of Zhou Ruoguang's indulgence. He was originally a gangster in the North District, and because Zhou Ruoguang thought highly of him, he became the manager of the market. Fenpian wasn't afraid anymore when he remembered that Tiandi was the same type of person. Mr. Zhou, you're here. I have something good I wanted Guang Bro to tell you. What is it? Tiandi paused. He wasn't feeling too good and it'd make him feel better if he could rush it. The security department caught a couple of thieves, and there were some pretty girls among them. Mr. Zhou, do you want to search them? Fenpian said lecherously. Did you get a background check? Tiandi paused and asked. This was his hobby after all. If there really was no problem, then he'd use the thieves to vent his anger. No background, they came in a broken van that looked like it came from a junkyard. There's no way they have any background. Fenpian said. Chapter 429. Becoming an idiot, it's just a couple of thieves, what's wrong? Fenpian paused, not understanding why Tiandi was acting like this. A couple of thieves? A man and a woman? Zhou Ruoming was surprised as well. A man and two women. Fenpian said. A man and two women? Zhou Ruoming paused and looked at Tiandi, both sighing in relief. A man and two women, that should be fine. If it's Lin Yi, he should be with Tang Yun, not a man and two women. That scared the hell out of me. Tiandi patted his chest. I've been scared to the point of going crazy. That's right, I've been so paranoid all day. Zhou Ruoming was suddenly interested in the pretty girls Fenpian was talking about, but he didn't dare say it out loud in front of his father. He could only look at Tiandi with a twinkle in his eyes. Come, let's go together. Tiandi naturally knew what kind of person his son was. He was as lecherous as he was, and so Tiandi decided to go together with his son. Haha, let's go check it out then. Zhou Ruoming was overjoyed, but he put on a fearful expression. Fenpian thought to himself that he'd lost a great opportunity to get close to Lin Yi, but that wasn't a big deal. He could use this opportunity to please the boss and the young master. Pretty girls weren't hard to find after all, and he could find a lot of them with money. Wouldn't his money be rolling in if he treated the father and son well? Lin Yi followed the security captain to the security room because he didn't want to make a move in the market. There were too many people there, and Lin Yi wouldn't be able to use his powers. These guys had no choice but to resign themselves to fate in the security room. Bang! The security captain locked the door as soon as they entered the security room, pointing at Lin Yi like a brute. You guys tell me, how did you steal this? Otherwise, I'll send you to the police station. It won't be as simple as it is now. Ha, you're with him? Lin Yi didn't think much of the barbarian's attitude as he looked at the captain. What are you talking about? He's the victim, of course we have to uphold justice for him. The captain's face changed, but he still tried to argue. Ha, uphold justice. You think you're Ultraman or the leader of Wulin? Lin Yi smiled. Just tell me, what do you want? Meng Yao and Yushu, by now, understood that the security captain was in cahoots with the thief. But with Lin Yi there, they weren't afraid of anything. Meng Yao and Yushu had been through life and death situations with Lin Yi before, after all. This bit of danger was nothing compared to bank robbers and sharks. The two were even a little excited. They wanted to see it. Lin. Don't even think about getting out after entering this door. Since you're not being honest, we'll beat you up first. The captain waved his hand at the other guards. Bring the girls into the room. Chairman Xie will search them later. This kid is not being honest, so beat him up first. Yes. Several security guards rubbed their fists and nodded in agreement. Isn't it against the law to beat people up here? Lin Yi looked at the captain. And here I'm the law. The captain pointed at Lin Yi arrogantly. I'm not afraid to tell you that there are no cameras here. If you go out, no one will be able to prove that you were beaten up by us. We can just say that you fell down yourself. Ah, I see. That's what I was thinking. Lin Yi nodded with a smile. What do you mean? Are you stupid? The captain blinked, not understanding what Lin Yi meant. I'm not stupid, but you're about to be. Lin Yi said as he patted the captain's head. What the hell are you talking about? Bo. The captain's eyes went blank all of a sudden as saliva dripped down from the corner of his mouth. He started laughing hysterically as he tried to catch the thief. 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 Shield bro, is he really stupid? Yushu cried out excitedly at the sight of the security captain turning into an idiot. This is fun, this is so fun. Shield bro, turn this guy into an idiot too. With that, Yushu pointed at the thief. Don't. The thief had seen Lin Yi's magic before, and he was scared out of his wits. He had never seen someone turn a person into an idiot with just 2 pats. He was a monster from the legends. This kid knows sorcery. Catch him. The other guards were scared as well. Who had ever seen someone turn a person into an idiot with just a few moves? But while there were people shouting for Lin Yi, no one dared to step forward. They were all afraid of becoming Lin Yi's next target. Not only did no one step forward, but they were also backing away. Plop. The thief dropped to his knees when he saw Lin Yi walking over. Bro, master ancestor, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have stolen the phone, I'll return it to you now. With that, the thief took out Mingyao's phone and placed it on the ground, crying with snot and tears all over his face. I'm just a small fry up front. Guang bro told us to cooperate and steal things to cheat the customers. Lin Yi picked up the phone and handed it back to Mingyao before the tears and snot dripped down. He then looked at the thief. Guang bro? What Guang bro? What does Guang bro do? Brother Guang is Zhou Ruoguang, the boss of the North District. This flower, bird, and fish market is also owned by his family. The thief said whatever was on his mind. He was afraid of becoming an idiot, so he naturally did not dare to hide anything. Oh, Zhou Ruoguang? Lin Yi blinked, not expecting it to be Zhou Ruoguang again. Now he was at loggerheads with his family. Call him, tell him to come here in 10 minutes, or I'll tear this place down. Alright, I'll make the call now. The thief was a little afraid of Zhou Ruoguang, but he was more afraid of Lin Yi right now. Zhou Ruoguang could only beat him half to death, but Lin Yi could make him wish he was dead. But just as Lin Yi was talking to the thief, a security guard standing not too far away suddenly went berserk. He held a sharp knife in his hand as he approached Mengyao. He wanted to use Mengyao as a hostage to force Lin Yi to leave. He didn't feel safe with Lin Yi standing there. Since Lin Yi had already turned one person into an idiot, a few more wouldn't make a difference. Chapter 430. Turn into a few more. Man, I didn't want to create too much food wasting trash, but you could have just stood there and waited for Zhou Ruoguang to come and everything would have been fine. Why bother? Lin Yi looked at the guard sympathetically. Oh, a new idiot is born. Yushu waved her fist. Shield bro, turn into a few more? 2 is too few? The other guards and thieves sweated as they listened. Why was this girl so cruel? Did she like seeing people turn into idiots? Gotcha. The door opened with a creak, and Xie Fengpian's eyes lit up when he saw Mengyao and Yushu in the room. Such a beautiful girl, it's really a waste. If only Zhou Qiandi hadn't come today. Catch the thief. The security captain grabbed at Fengpian like a maniac, drooling from the inside. What are you doing? Fengpian jumped. Have you never seen a woman before? Even if these 2 girls are pretty, you don't have to be this infatuated, do you? You're drooling, don't you think that's disgusting? Mr. Zhou's here. Stand properly. Fengpian was pissed off. The security captain wasn't usually like this. What was wrong with him today? He had to make a fool out of himself in front of Qiandi, wasn't he? Mr. Zhou? Zhou Ruoguang's here? Lin Yi looked at Fengpian. Fengpian evidently hadn't figured out what was going on in the room yet, not knowing that Lin Yi had the upper hand. You know Guang bro? That's no use, it's Guang bro's father who came today. If you know what's good for you, you'd better shut up or else. Slap. Fengpian didn't even get to finish before Lin Yi slapped him in the face. His ears started to bleed and he fell to the ground unconscious. Lin Yi was losing his patience. These Zhous didn't know what death was like, did they? Why were there so many idiots being sent to him one after another? Zhou Qiandi and Zhou Ruoming were dumbfounded when they heard the slaps and screams, especially when they heard Lin Yi's voice. The 2 of them stood at the door of the security room, not knowing whether to go in or not. They didn't know what to do. But even if they didn't come in, Lin Yi could still see them. He smiled coldly. Zhou Qiandi, Zhou Ruoming, come in. Tiandi and Zhou Ruoming looked at each other and forced themselves to walk into the security room. They wanted to kill the security captain right now. Of all the people he shouldn't mess with, why did he have to mess with Lin Yi? But wasn't Lin Yi with Tang Yun? Zhou Ruoming, however, saw Meng Yao and Yushu. I say, Zhou Qindi, haven't you had enough of going against me? Lin Yi knew that today's incident had nothing to do with Tiandi, but if Tiandi still wanted to use these small security guards after losing a golden class master, then he'd have to be an idiot. So, it could only be said that it was a coincidence. Still, Lin Yi was quite annoyed. Why did Tiandi's family always have to make things difficult for him? No. Boss Lin, you've misunderstood. Tiandi's face paled. Boss Lin, that wasn't what I meant, I didn't know. Right, it was that Xie Fenpian, he was the one who said he caught a couple of thieves for me to take a look at, right, Ruoming? Lin Yi nodded. Yes. Zhou Ruoming was scared out of his wits as he nodded. We didn't come to flirt with pretty girls? Tiandi almost exploded at his son's words. Wasn't this just showing that he wasn't hiding something? He really wanted to send him flying with a kick. You idiot, what are you talking about? We're here to handle a theft case and we're here to make sure it's fair and just. Yes. Boss Lin, this really has nothing to do with us. Ruoming quickly corrected himself. Boss Lin, this really has nothing to do with us. Alright, I don't have time to waste with you guys. Load the 3 saplings and you 2 can leave. But don't mess with me next time or I'll burn your house down. Lin Yi waved his hand impatiently. That's it for today. If you want to tell others, then do what you want. Zhou Ruoming paused. How could he just tell others? Wouldn't he be crazy if he told others about something like this? But he understood what Lin Yi was getting at. He was probably talking about seeing him with Meng Yao and Yushu. But what did Lin Yi have to do with Meng Yao and Yushu? They didn't say anything about that at school, did they? As confused as he was, Zhou Ruoming didn't dare ask. He and his father quickly went out to get the saplings after Lin Yi asked for them. Give me 3 saplings. Tiandi found a shop that sold saplings and asked the owner. How much? The shop owner saw that it was a big shot from the market asking for saplings. Why would he take money? He quickly brought the saplings over with a smile. Why do you need money? It's not that much. Just bring it over if you want to use it. I'll give you the money. Here's 100 kuai, is that enough? Tiandi took out 100 kuai from his wallet and handed it to the owner. I don't need that much, the saplings are cheap, just a few kuai each. The owner quickly waved his hand. Tiandi didn't have the time to waste with him. He threw the money down and grabbed the saplings before walking out. I'll get a worker to carry it for you? The owner asked kindly, seeing that Tiandi was doing it himself. It's fine. Tiandi refused decisively. He had to carry the saplings himself to show his sincerity. What if he got a worker and Lin Yi picked on him again? Plus, the saplings weren't heavy at all. He put the saplings in the car and carefully stood beside it, smiling. Boss Lin Yi, is there anything else you need? No. Right, I turned 2 of your security guards into idiots, is that okay? Lin Yi looked at Tiandi. They won't ask me for medical fees, will they? No, they won't, don't worry. Tiandi jumped. Turning people into idiots? What kind of technique was that? No wonder that security captain was acting so strangely. He thought he was a love-struck fool, but it turned out that he was an idiot. They fell and became idiots themselves. We'll compensate them according to the standard for work-related injuries. Chapter 431. Chapter 431, Breakthrough. Meng Yao wasn't in the mood for Zhou Ruoming's family, and she'd been silent since she got in the car. Yushu, on the other hand, didn't seem to be affected. Shield bro, why willow trees? Isn't it better if we plant fruit trees? We can eat the fruits when they're ripe. Shoo. Didn't he say that he wouldn't ask such a stupid question? We'll be graduating by next year by then. Meng Yao reminded. Then why willow trees? Yushu nodded. That I don't know. Lin Yi, what? Meng Yao asked. Haven't you guys heard of this saying? It's called planting a flower with the intention doesn't bloom, but planting a willow without the intention grows a shade. Lin Yi smiled. Willow trees are easier to grow, and it doesn't take much effort to take care of them. I see. Yushu nodded. Dr. Kang's villa. Grandpa, according to the lab's analysis, there are different types of dog poop. Different breeds of dog poop make different poop, so I suspect that not every type of dog poop can be used as a pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Xiaolong said. That's a big discovery. Dr. Kang said, taking Xiaolong's words very seriously. No wonder the effects of dog poop haven't been discovered yet. Different dogs make different poop. Good job, Xiaolong. Have you figured out what kind of dog shit this is? We compared and sampled thousands of dog poop samples and consulted many dog experts. We came to the conclusion that this poop is most likely from a German Shepherd. Xiaolong said. No wonder, I heard that this dog's value is second only to the Tibetan Mastiff. It's very rare and expensive. Miracle Dr. Kong nodded. Alright, hurry up and get me one of these dogs. Let them poop and compare it, then report the results to me. Alright, Grandpa. I've already sent someone to buy one, so we should have news soon. Xiaolong said. By the way, when are you going to the Xiao family in Yanjing to propose marriage? Dr. Kong asked. Xiaolong's heart skipped a beat. That girl was quite pretty and it wouldn't be hard to marry her. Even if the Xiao family wasn't that powerful right now, she could still be a stepping stone for House Kong. When House Kong grew stronger, he'd replace her and find a bigger family. But that was what he'd thought in the past. Xiaolong, who was about to figure out the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, was full of confidence. He didn't really think much of Xinyan. Grandpa, I think the most important thing right now is to figure out what kind of dog poop the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing is made from. That's the most important thing for our family right now. As for the marriage, I think we can postpone it for a while. If we really manage to figure out the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, our House Kang's position will skyrocket, and we might not have to marry into the Xiao family anymore. Xiaolong said. You're right, I didn't think it through before. Dr. Kong nodded in agreement after hearing Xiaolong's analysis. I've always thought of our family as a weak family, but if we have the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, things will be different. Golden creation is just a medicine for injuries. It can heal wounds, but it's only popular among women. It's a luxury item for the upper class. But the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing is different. It can save lives. Yeah, once we succeed, we won't be a small family anymore. All the other families will be begging us. Dr. Kong said. But if we can figure out the recipe, others can too, right? Don't worry, Grandpa. We won't be as stupid as Kong Xiaobo taking dog poop out directly. We'll add some fragrance or something to make the pill fragrant. It won't be easy for people to analyze it then. Xiaolong said. But there's a risk too, our main ingredient is dog poop. No matter how hard we try to cover it up, the dog poop will still be found out, won't it? Dr. Kong hesitated. That's true. Xiaolong nodded. It looks like I'll have to figure out how to keep the recipe a secret. Grandpa, I have an idea. Kong Ming, who hadn't had the chance to speak up until now, stood up. He didn't want Xiaolong to take the lead. We'll reduce the proportion of dog poop in each pill, making it as rare as possible. We'll use the rest of the useless ingredients, so we'll just need to take a few more pills. It had to be said that Kong Ming's plan was worth 3. Dr. Kong and Xiaolong listened to Kong Ming's plan and were enlightened. Dr. Kong said, Illumination's method is feasible. Not bad, you two brothers, one intellectual and one martial. House Kong will be able to flourish in the future. Xiaolong wasn't happy that Kong Ming took half of the credit, but he had to admit that Kong Ming's method was very good. Diluting the dog poop and making it look like a supplementary ingredient that people could ignore. Hee. Kong Ming smiled. Grandpa, big brother doesn't like that girl. Why don't you give her to me? Kong Xiaoming didn't have any great ambitions in his heart. Sneaking around was fine, but he didn't want to be in control of the corporation. As long as he got the shares in his hands, being a playboy wasn't a bad idea. So when he saw that Xiaolong wasn't interested in Wang Xinyan, he wanted to take her for himself. You brat, what are you thinking? She's your sister-in-law? Dr. Kong glared at his grandson helplessly. I was just saying. Kong Ming felt that it wasn't appropriate and quickly changed his words. Fatty Lai finally got Lin Yi's number from Xuemin with tears and snot on his face. He'd asked for Lu Qianni's number before, but Lu Qianni wouldn't give him Lin Yi's number no matter what. In the end, Fatty Lai panicked and wanted to be irreconcilable enemies. Lu Qianni had no choice but to give him some advice. Brother Lai, it's not that I'm trying to make things difficult for you, but I really don't dare to. I'm begging Miracle Dr. Lin, how could I just give his information to someone else? How about this? Professor Guan and Miracle Dr. Lin are very close. Go beg him, he'll definitely have a way. I begged him back then. And so, Fatty Lai ran to Xuemin's house as if he'd received an imperial edict. Xuemin didn't tell him, so he knelt in front of Xuemin's house and started crying. Guan Xang came home from her night shift and was shocked to see a fatty crying in front of her house. Who are you? What do you want? You are? Are you Guan Xuemin's family? Fatty Lai raised his head and asked as soon as he heard someone talking to him. Chapter 432. Little Bodyguard? Ah, you're Professor Guan's granddaughter? That's great. Do you know Miracle Dr. Lin Yi's number? I'm looking for him. Fatty Lai started sobbing again. My dad has uremia and he's dying. Miracle Dr. Lin can cure him, but Professor Guan won't tell us his number. Lin Yi was stunned. You're looking for Lin Yi? Guan Xen paused and looked at the pitiful Fatty Lai. Why don't I tell you? If he blames you, just tell him I gave it to him. Guan Xen was a kind-hearted person. She couldn't bear to see the fatty crying in front of her door, so she gave him Lin Yi's number. Thank you. Miss Guan, you're such a kind-hearted person. You must be Miracle Dr. Lin's girlfriend, right? Fatty Lai may be a crybaby, but he was a veteran in the business world. His ability to read people's expressions was extraordinary. He saw Guan Xian's blush when she mentioned Lin Yi, and he knew that her relationship with Lin Yi wasn't simple. No wonder Xuemin and Lin Yi were so close. It was because of this. Fatty Lai had been wondering why Lin Yi started a medicine company with Xuemin. Did he trust Xuemin that much? Lin Yi's medical skills were much better than Xuemin's. So there was this layer of relationship between them. No, we're just good friends. Guan Xen was embarrassed by Fatty Lai's words, stuttering as she blushed. But she was happy inside. The fatty may be a crybaby, but his words were nice. Giving him her number wasn't a waste. Haha, then I won't bother Miss Guan anymore. I'll go make the call. Fatty Lai wanted to get closer to Lin Yi as soon as possible. Guan Xen was already embarrassed, but Fatty Lai's words made her breathe a sigh of relief as she ran into the villa. Lin Yi remembered that Tang Yun was supposed to participate in the tree planting tomorrow. He wondered if she had any saplings. He took out his phone and was about to make a call when it rang. He thought it was Tang Yun, but it was an unfamiliar number. Hello? Lin Yi answered the phone. Is that Miracle Dr. Lin? Fatty Lai asked in surprise. Miracle Dr. Lin? Who are you? Lin Yi was slightly startled. A few days ago he was looking for Thief Lin, and today he was looking for Miracle Dr. Lin. Miracle Dr. Lin, it really is you. I'm Lai Chang'e. Fatty Lai quickly introduced himself. Lai Chang'e? I don't know him. Lin Yi was about to hang up the phone. Sob. Miracle Dr. Lin, don't you recognize me? Oh. Fatty Lai started crying again. I remember. As soon as Lin Yi heard the crying, he connected the dots. You are the crying fatty, right? Yes, it's me, Miracle Dr. Lin. You remember now. Fatty Lai was pleasantly surprised. I remember now. What's the matter? Lin Yi asked. It's like this. That pill of life extension and toxin cleansing is very effective. I'm here to pay for your medical fees. Should I transfer the money to you? Fatty Lai asked. Well, that? No need. I told you it's for you. Lin Yi refused after hearing Fatty Lai's intentions. 100 million wasn't a small amount, and Lin Yi needed money, but that pill was covered in dog poop and Kong Ming had thrown it away. Lin Yi couldn't just accept the money. How can I do that? You have to take the money or my conscience will be hurt. Sob. Fatty Lai started crying again. Lin Yi was speechless. Isn't it good to save money for you? How about this? Miracle Dr. Lin, don't you want to open a medical company? How about I give you an office building? I'm building a new building and I'm planning to move my company there, but I don't need a lot of space. A few floors are enough. I wanted to rent out the rest, but I'll give it to you. What do you think? Fatty Lai asked. If you really want to give it to me, then give it to me. Lin Yi didn't reject the offer. It saved him the trouble of looking for another place. Okay. Write your name on the deed? Fatty Lai was overjoyed that Lin Yi didn't reject him anymore. Right, Grandpa Guan? Lin Yi wanted to say Guan Xuemin's name, but Xuemin probably wouldn't agree. Write it under Guan Xian's name. Okay, I'll remember it. Fatty Lai nodded quickly. Lin Yi and Guan Xian really had a close relationship. It seemed like his guess was right. Is there anything else? Lin Yi was in a hurry to call Tang Yun. He wasn't in the mood to waste time with Fatty Lai. Yes. That pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Can you sell me another one? Fatty Lai stated his intentions. Oh, your old man won't die for a while. Lin Yi said. When the medical company opens in a few days, I'll take some out for auction. You can buy it then. Okay. As long as it's for sale. Fatty Lai didn't lack money. He didn't care if it was an auction or not. Sob, I'm so happy. Lin Yi hung up and let out a sigh of relief. This guy was too much of a drag. He couldn't take it anymore. He shook his head and dialed Tang Yun's number. Hello, Lin Yi? What's up? Tang Yun had just returned home from the hospital when she received Lin Yi's call. We're planting trees at school tomorrow. Do you have a tree? Lin Yi asked. Yeah, do you want one? I have a lot in my yard. Tang Yun said. Just a couple of saplings will do. Ugh. Lin Yi slapped his forehead, remembering that Tang Yun lived in a house in the slums. There was a yard in front of their house and there were a lot of wild saplings. No, I was thinking that if you don't have any, I can buy some for you. No need, ha. Tang Yun was very happy. Her heart was filled with sweetness at Lin Yi's concern. So, the feeling of being in love was a wonderful thing. She had always rejected it, but now that she really liked someone, she couldn't stop it. Alright, see you tomorrow. They chatted for a while until Mrs. Tang called Tang Yun for dinner. Lin Yi hung up. In the floating cloud bar, Jiang Wen's face was dark as he sat beside Sihua. Sihua bro, you have to help me this time. Send some strong people to teach that Lin Yi a lesson. Tai Zhao and I are in big trouble this time. Sihua didn't say anything. Sihua bro, you know that the masters from the fire wolves were taken away by my big bro. The new masters aren't here yet. I wouldn't be asking you for this if it wasn't for that. Jiang Wen was panicking when Sihua didn't say anything. Master. What level of master? Sihua sighed, finally speaking. Chapter 433. Chapter 433 Jiang Wen's visit, little bodyguard? Sihua smiled coldly. Golden class early phase. Is that so strong? Golden class early phase isn't strong? Normal people like us can never reach that height in our lifetimes. Not to mention golden class early phase, even body refinement and chi refining late phase can't reach it. Jiang Wen evidently knew a lot about ancient martial arts, and knew that there were two ways to reach golden class, chi refining and body refinement. Haha, that's true, but Lin Yi isn't a normal person. Sihua said faintly. Why would I keep him around if he was? Now that he had established a working relationship with Jiang Wen, the two sides were having a good time working together, and Sihua had gotten a huge amount of money from it. He didn't think that selling human organs would be this profitable. No wonder Haosen, who wasn't that famous before, had become a new noble house all of a sudden. Sihua didn't want to have anything to do with Jiang Wen right now, and so he told the truth about Lin Yi. Not a normal person? What do you mean? Jiang Wen paused. Isn't he Mingyao's bodyguard? Do you think anyone can be a bodyguard? Peng Zhan wouldn't have hired him to be Mingyao's side if he wasn't capable at all. Sihua shook his head. Peng Zhan is a person like that. Even the shareholders of his company have masters protecting them, and that Faubert beside him must be at least golden class. Why would he put a piece of trash beside his beloved daughter? Sihua's analysis might sound convincing, but he'd underestimated Lin Yi before this. Many people were like that. They wouldn't be able to see the reality in front of them if they didn't experience it themselves. Jiang Wen's face changed. Lin Yi is a golden class as well? Humph, I'm a golden class early phase and a golden class late phase and he killed them. Sihua roared. Do I hate him? Do I want him to die? Of course I hate him, of course I do. But I have no choice, I don't have the strength to fight him. What? What did you say? Sihua bro, are you saying that an early phase and a late phase golden class were killed by Lin Yi? Jiang Wen's eyes went wide as he stared at Sihua in horror. He felt as if his scalp was about to explode, a chill running down his spine. I'm not sure if he killed her, but it looks like a car accident. Sihua sighed, calming himself down. But I don't believe that two golden class masters would die in a car accident. Plus, I sent that early phase golden class master to test Lin Yi, and he didn't get any advantage. Jiang Wen was completely dumbfounded. He thought that Lin Yi was just a small fry who knew some kung fu, but it seemed like that wasn't the case at all. Not only was Lin Yi powerful, but he was also extremely powerful. So, if he's not a threat to you, just let him go for now. It's good for both of us. Sihua smiled bitterly. I, Sihua bro, have dominated Songshan for 5 years, and I can't do anything to a brat who just came here. Don't you think that's unfair? But I can tolerate this. Jiang Wen knew that Sihua wouldn't lie to him, and there was no reason for him to do so, especially since they were working together now. Sihua wouldn't want anything to happen to him and affect the cooperation. He's not a threat. Jiang Wen shook his head. He's just Mingyao's bodyguard, not her boyfriend. According to my investigation, he has a girlfriend called Tang Yun, one of the school beauties of Songshan's first school. She's as pretty as Mingyao, so there shouldn't be anything going on between them. It's just that I can't tolerate this. So what if you can't tolerate it? Humans need to tolerate it and you'll get used to it. Sihua said with a wave of his hand. I wanted to do it with Tang Yun, but it seems like that's not a good idea anymore. Jiang Wen said. Don't, please don't. If you touch his woman, he'll never forgive you. Even if he's a late phase golden class, you won't be able to rest for the rest of your life. Sihua said quickly. Unless you have a master of a higher level by your side to protect you. Yes. You're right, I should change the way I treat Lin Yi. Since we can't be enemies, we should be friends. With him by Mingyao's side, he'll be like a spy, and I'll be able to keep track of Mingyao's movements. Jiang Wen thought it through quickly. That's the right way to think. Sihua raised his glass. Come, let's toast to our cooperation. Cheers. Jiang Wen was no longer depressed now that he'd found a temporary solution. Sihua bro, the number of people you've been capturing has clearly decreased a lot, not as much as the first 2 days. The firewolves aren't able to keep up with the demand. Masterin, you know that there's only so many beggars and vagrants in Songshan. We've caught most of them already, and the ones who got the news have run away. It's not easy for us to catch them. Sihua said. What about the disabled? There should be a lot of them, right? They're a weak group and no one would care even if we captured them, right? Jiang Wen had never seen so much money before. The amount of money in his bank account skyrocketed, driving him crazy. It's not that easy to capture the disabled. Some of them are very rich and they have powerful relatives at home. We can't just touch them like that, and we can only wait in the slums and the suburbs, capturing them the moment we see them. Sihua said. Don't worry, I know some underground bosses in other cities in the province. We can work with them. Alright, I'll leave this to you, Sihua bro. Jiang Wen nodded. He knew that he'd be able to make more money if he went to the other cities to work with the underground bosses, but Jiang Wen wasn't familiar with the place and the people. House N's roots were in Songshan, and he'd be in trouble if he were to cross the border. Might as well let Sihua handle this. Yeah, don't worry, it's not a problem. Sihua said with a wave of his hand. What surprised Lin Yi was the fact that Jiang Wen still had the face to come visit him again. Lin Yi thought that he'd heard wrong when Yushu called out to him from the door. Shield bro, Jiang Wen's here again. He's here to ask you out for dinner. Yushu called out from Lin Yi's room. Chapter 434. Chapter 434, Too Little Mingyao, on the other hand, sat on the side, her face cold as she chatted with Jiang Wen. Lin Yi, he's here for you. Come talk to him. Mingyao breathed out in relief when she saw Lin Yi. She got up and walked upstairs. Jiang Wen smiled bitterly. He was here for Lin Yi, but he also wanted to get closer to Mingyao. It was like he was here for Lin Yi and Mingyao wasn't welcoming him at all. Jiang Wen didn't know what he'd done wrong. His relationship with Mingyao was getting worse and worse. Bro Lin, come sit. Jiang Wen greeted Lin Yi warmly. It's been a few days, I've really missed you. Lin Yi felt a chill run down his spine. Could it be that Jiang Wen's sexual orientation changed because of the medicine? He walked over and sat on the sofa 1 meter away from Jiang Wen. Masterin, what's up? Did that doll feel good? Jiang Wen's face changed. He didn't think that Lin Yi was ready to go all out with him today. But Jiang Wen wasn't planning on going all out with Lin Yi today. He was here to show his friendliness to Lin Yi. And so, Jiang Wen suppressed his anger. Ha lil bro Lin Yi, you're joking. I was just joking last time. That blow-up doll wasn't too bad, no different from a real person. Bro Lin, do you want to try? I'll pass. You play with it yourself. Lin Yi shook his head, wondering what kind of tricks the kid was up to this time. Lin Yi didn't believe that Jiang Wen didn't care about what happened before at all. There was no way he'd be that magnanimous. There had to be something going on. The kid had to have something up his sleeves. Lin Yi raised his guard. Ah, that's fine. Bro Lin has a pretty girlfriend. You don't need these things, haha. I heard she's the school beauty? As famous as Yao Yao sis? Jiang Wen smiled. What do you want to do? Lin Yi's face darkened and his attitude became cold. This guy wanted to make a move on Tang Yun? Lin Yi wouldn't let him off so easily if he wanted to do anything to Tang Yun. I'm a poor person. Although I don't like to give things to others, I don't mind giving you a coffin. Jiang Wen was a little pissed off at Lin Yi's threat, but when he thought about the 2 golden class masters that had died under Tsihua's hands, he calmed down. Compared to those 2 golden class masters, he was nothing. Threatening Lin Yi like that was asking for death. Brother Lin, you've misunderstood. I'm just congratulating Brother Lin for bringing home the beauty. I don't mean anything else. Jiang Wen quickly explained, feeling lucky that he went to Tsihua first and didn't do anything to Tang Yun. Otherwise he'd be dead by now. Lin Yi nodded faintly and waited for Jiang Wen to continue. He didn't know what he meant. It's like this. You've brought home the beauty, but I'm still alone. Jiang Wen said. You're always by Yao Yao Sis's side. You can always get news about her, right? And? Lin Yi asked. I feel that Yao Yao Sis is a lot colder to me. Does she have a boyfriend or someone she likes? Do you know? Jiang Wen asked. How would I know? Lin Yi shook his head. Why would I research that stuff? That's true. Linny bro, you have a girlfriend. You don't have to worry about that anymore. But I don't. I've been chasing after Meng Yao for so many years. You don't know how a hungry man feels. Jiang Wen's voice was very serious. I've wronged you before because I thought you were Meng Yao's boyfriend, but now that I've done my research, we don't have anything against each other at all. We can totally be friends. Oh, I would have been in trouble if I hadn't been alert. Linny didn't pity him at all. What did it have to do with him whether Jiang Wen got Meng Yao or not? Linny couldn't let someone as dangerous as Jiang Wen get close to Meng Yao. Haha. Jiang Wen was a little embarrassed. We got to know each other after a fight. Plus, you didn't lose anything, brother Lin. Oh, then what do you want me to do? Linny wasn't in the mood to argue with him. He wanted to know what Jiang Wen's real intentions were. Lil bro Lin, you see Meng Yao all the time both at school and at home. Can you help me keep an eye out for guys who get really close to her, or if there's any news? Can you let me know right away? Jiang Wen said. You want me to be a spy? Linny understood what Jiang Wen was getting at. Yeah, that's about it. Jiang Wen nodded. That's not an easy job. You know that I'm employed by Mr. Pengzhan. How can I be a spy for someone else? Linny looked at Jiang Wen. Of course I won't let you do it for free. There'll be benefits. Jiang Wen saw that Linny wasn't giving him a definite answer. There should be some room for negotiation. I'll pay you? Oh, that's fine. 500,000 a month. That'll be enough to help you. Linny said directly. 500,000. Jiang Wen paused. He was thinking of giving Linny 100,000 at most. He didn't expect Linny to ask for 500,000 a month. Forget it if you think it's too much. I don't really want to do it. It's very dangerous. It's not worth it to lose my job for such a small amount of money. Linny said faintly. 500,000 was a small amount? Jiang Wen felt a little dizzy. But when he thought about how Linny might be a late-phase golden class, he didn't think it was strange anymore. Hiring a late-phase golden class as a bodyguard wouldn't be cheap. The early-phase golden class with his brother cost 5 million a year, not to mention that Linny was a late-phase golden class. Thinking about it that way, Jiang Wen felt a lot better. 500,000 was only the price of selling a kidney. It wasn't a lot anymore. All right, 500,000. I'll leave everything to you, brother Lin. Jiang Wen said. Give me your bank account number. I'll transfer it to you directly. Lin Yi told Jiang Wen his bank account number and sent him away. Yushu popped her head out of the washroom. Shield bro, why did you only ask for 500,000? It's too little? Chapter 435. Chapter 435, Meticulous Thoughts. You're right, you have to treat us then or I'll tell Yao Yao about this. Yushu said as she rolled her eyes. I can treat you, but what do you want me to treat you? Lin Yi asked. I want to eat shark meat. When are you going to take me to catch sharks again? Yushu couldn't forget about shark meat. Maybe when the time comes. Lin Yi sweated. Shark meat wasn't tasty at all. Why was Chin Yi so addicted to it? The next day, the entire graduating class was suspended for a day, and the tree planting activity began. This was a group activity second only to the spring outing and art festival. After entering the 12th grade, the extracurricular activities had decreased a lot, so most students were looking forward to this activity. Lin Yi naturally couldn't be too close to Meng Yao and Yushu in school. Lin Yi gave them the willow seedlings and told them a few things to pay attention to before going to find Tang Yun. Tang Yun brought an elm seedling which was one of the easiest to grow, similar to Lin Yi's willow. Tang Yun was very happy to see Lin Yi walking over, but hesitated. She had accepted Lin Yi from the bottom of her heart, but walking with Lin Yi in front of so many students was still a little embarrassing. What? Go there, there's less people there. Tang Yun pointed at an empty space not far away. Okay. Lin Yi nodded and went to hold Tang Yun's hand. Tang Yun jumped in fright and tried to run away like a rabbit. She dodged to the side, but she was afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't be happy, so she dodged back and looked around. Only after making sure that no one was looking did she give her hand to Lin Yi. Lin Yi couldn't help but find it funny looking at Tang Yun's timid face, but he had the urge to protect her even more. She was a cute girl. I'll carry it for you. Lin Yi saw the shovel and seedlings in Tang Yun's hands and grabbed them. It wasn't much for him, but it was a bit heavy for Tang Yun. They found a place with fewer people and Lin Yi placed the seedlings on the ground, preparing to dig a hole. This seems to be Zhou Ruoming's turf. He used to plant trees around here and wouldn't let anyone plant here. Tang Yun looked around and said to Lin Yi. I was wondering why there were so few people here. Let's do it here then. Lin Yi heard that it was Zhou Ruoming's turf. Tang Yun heard Lin Yi's words and couldn't help but laugh. She covered her mouth and laughed. She couldn't hide from Zhou Ruoming before. She didn't dare get close to him. But now he was planting trees in his turf. Ming bro, isn't that your turf? Why did someone take it over? Yun Lingxi carried the seedlings and looked up to see that their turf had been taken over. How dare someone plant trees in my turf? I'll dig up their trees and throw them away. Ruoming was infuriated by Yun Lingxi's words as well. He was about to run over when he suddenly stopped in his tracks. What? It's Linny? Are we still going to chase them away? Yun Lingxi asked carefully. Chase my ass, let's go help them. Zhou Ruoming didn't dare to provoke Lin Yi. He quickly put on a smile and walked over. Boss Lin Yi, are you planting trees with sis-in-law? I heard that they took over your turf. Do you want me to change it? Lin Yi looked at Zhou Ruoming and asked faintly. Boss Lin Yi, look at what you're saying. This is the school's land, how can it be mine? I planted a few trees nearby but they're not mine. Besides, I'll continue planting trees next year and the year after that to protect Boss Lin Yi and sis-in-law's trees in the middle. I'll be the guardian of the trees. Zhou Ruoming said flatteringly. Oh, you've planted quite a lot of trees. It looks like you've been studying for years. Lin Yi said sarcastically. Yeah, look at the trees all over the place. I've planted quite a few of them. Zhou Ruoming said proudly. I'm planning to plant fruit trees this year and we'll be able to eat them next year. Boss Lin Yi will bring sis-in-law back to eat too, right? Let's talk about it when we're free. Lin Yi was speechless. This Zhou Ruoming wanted to continue studying in high school and never graduate? Tang Yun's body was shaking from laughter. With her bright and beautiful face, she looked like a flower. Zhou Ruoming was also stunned, but he didn't dare to stare too much. He knew that Tang Yun was no longer the Tang Yun of the past. If he still had any improper thoughts, the consequences would be unimaginable. Lingxi, come, let's help Boss Lin Yi dig a hole. Zhou Ruoming stretched his arms and got ready to work. In the past he would find a laborer to do this, but today he had to do it himself. He wanted to calm Lin Yi's anger as soon as possible. Otherwise, if Lin Yi came looking for them, their family would be finished. Even Uncle Yen wasn't Lin Yi's opponent. What was he? Alright, you don't have to do it. Go away. Lin Yi looked at Zhou Ruoming's clumsy look and frowned. You just need to stay away from me and Tang Yun from now on. Don't worry, I don't care about small fries. Yes, then I'll go. Zhou Ruoming heard Lin Yi's words and was overjoyed. His personal safety was guaranteed. Although he was seen as a small fry by Lin Yi, even if he was seen as an ant, as long as Lin Yi didn't come looking for trouble, he would accept it. After Zhou Ruoming left, Lin Yi quickly dug 2 holes. This kind of thing couldn't be easier for Lin Yi. It was much easier than Zhou Ruoming. Shock flashed through Tang Yun's eyes. Only now did Tang Yun understand that Lin Yi wasn't some young master at all. He was the same as her, he had suffered a lot, but today's achievement was the result of his own hard work. But the more it was like this, the more Tang Yun felt uneasy. Lin Yi was too outstanding. It made Tang Yun feel insecure. She was afraid that one day, Lin Yi wouldn't want her and fall in love with someone else. The only thing Tang Yun was confident about was her beautiful appearance. But what was the use of that? Wasn't Guan Xian pretty? Her grandfather was Miracle Dr. Guan. He helped Lin Yi's career a lot. Lin Yi and Guan Xian were a good match. Tang Yun sighed and shook her head. She forced herself not to think about it. Lin Yi wouldn't leave her, would he? Chapter 436. The lonely Xiao was watching Lin Yi and Tang Yun coldly from afar, her face cold. Who knew what she was thinking? Lil sis Xiao, when are you going to blow up Lin Yi? Pin Liang asked, rubbing his palms together. Your fireworks aren't even ready yet, how am I supposed to blow him up? Xiao glared at him. Is your plan going to work or not? Don't let Lin Yi find out. He probably won't. Plus, we'll light up the firecrackers after we're sure it's on him and blow his ass up. We'll embarrass him to death. Pin Liang imagined Lin Yi's ass turning red from the explosion, making a fool of himself in front of the whole school. This was his dream. Alright, but when will your firestones arrive? Xiao asked, looking at the dumbfounded Pin Liang. Soon, I've called a couple of times already. Pin Liang said. They're flying it over right now, it's called the Eskimo tree. Xiao looked at Pin Liang oddly. Only a crazy person like him would fly a tree over. You play then, I'll be going back. Xiao turned and walked back to the school building. One had to admit Xiao was the weakest of the big 4, and yet she could order the second and third of the big 4 around. How cool was that? Xiao on the other hand was lonely. She didn't have a single true friend. She looked at the stupid Yushu next to Mengyao and the Kong Xiaobo next to Lin Yi. Xiao was a little envious. They all had friends but she didn't. Friends? I don't need them. Xiao said in her heart. I don't need friends and I don't need friendship. I'll just be happy by myself and I don't need to be separated by death. Liang bro, why do I feel like Xiao Xiao's in a bad mood? Xiaofu asked curiously as he looked at Xiao Xiao's lonely figure. She was peed all over by Lin Yi. If it were you, would you be in a good mood? Pin Liang curled his lips disapprovingly. Let's focus on the Firestone plan. Do you really think Mingyao's going to like it? I think so. Xiaofu thought about it. Liang bro, why don't you write some love notes for Mengyao, fold them into the shape of a heart and put them on the tree? I'm sure Mengyao will be very happy when she sees it. That makes sense. Then find some paper and help me write. Pin Liang thought it was a good idea and nodded. He didn't have anything to do anyway, so he might as well write some notes. I'm afraid the two of us won't be enough. We need to find some help. Gao Xiaofu said, but as long as we give them some money, there should be a lot of people who will help. Alright, I'll leave it to you then. Pin Liang took out 1,000 kuai and gave it to Xiaofu. You take care of this first, I'll go build some momentum. With that, Pin Liang went to find Mengyao. He needed to tell her about the news beforehand so she could come out to see him confess his love. Shu, why aren't you digging any more? Mengyao asked curiously as she looked at Yushu, who was rubbing her hands on the ground. Oh, I'm tired. Yushu had tossed the shovel to the side. She thought that planting trees was new and interesting, but after digging for a while, she felt tired and decided to give up. She'd wait for Mengyao to finish digging and plant the 2 trees in the same hole. Yao Yao, let's plant the 2 trees together later, what do you think? It's not much, but you sure know how to slack off. Stand up and dig with me. Mengyao rolled her eyes angrily. Yushu was treating her like a coolie. But Yao Yao, I'm tired. You're the big sister, you're older than me, you have to let me? Yushu didn't want to get up. This Lin Yi, he's not helping, he only knows how to hit on girls. Mengyao couldn't do anything to Yushu, so all she could do was grit her teeth and dig with the shovel. She was sweating profusely as she cursed Lin Yi. This bastard, I'm going to cut his salary. Doesn't he have the awareness of a follower? Doesn't he know that this is the time to help? Should I get Shield Bro to help? Yushu felt that it wasn't appropriate to let Mengyao work alone. Get him? Forget it. He's hitting on girls, why would he care about us? Mengyao humphed. I don't know what's so good about Tang Yun, our Shu is so much prettier than her and cute too. Oh, Yao Yao isn't bad either, why don't you go seduce Shield Bro and give him a taste of sweetness? He'll come and work for you, right? Yushu suggested. Why don't you go with such a stupid suggestion? You have big boobs, you're perfect for seducing him. Mengyao glared at Yushu. Okay, I'll try it next time. Yushu nodded in agreement. Mengyao was about to continue lecturing Yushu when she heard Yushu call out happily. Yao Yao, we have a helper, the coolie is here. Chem? Mengyao paused and raised her head to see Pin Liang walking over quickly. She asked in a low voice, You're not talking about Pin Liang, are you? Hee yeah, free coolie like him, it'd be a waste not to use him. Yushu waved at Pin Liang. Liang, Yao Yao is calling you. Pin Liang was overjoyed when Yushu called him pretty. Pin Liang wore a casual suit to match the fireworks tonight, and he thought that Mengyao thought he looked more handsome because of the suit. He ran over happily. Yao Yao Shu, what can I do for you? Yao Yao, aren't you tired? You go rest on the bench over there, I'll dig. Yushu said as she grabbed the shovel from Mengyao's hands and gave her a look. Mengyao found it funny, but she couldn't do anything about it. Yushu was more brainless than anyone else when she was with her, but she was so smart in front of others. She didn't know if it was an act or something. Yushu was most likely trying to send her away so that Pin Liang could dig a hole for her. She knew that she wouldn't be able to help Pin Liang dig a hole if she was there, but now that she was gone, Yushu could use her name to get Pin Liang to do it. I'll go rest then. Mengyao didn't want Pin Liang's help, but digging a hole was really tiring. She really wanted to rest. Chapter 437. Hiring coolies. Pin Liang wanted to talk to Yushu about the fireworks tonight without Mengyao, but it wasn't a good idea to do it in front of Mengyao. If Mengyao didn't give him face and rejected him outright, Pin Liang would be in a very bad spot. He wouldn't even have a chance to turn things around then. As a result, Pin Liang planned to talk to Yushu first. As long as Yushu was willing to help, he'd be able to trick Mengyao into coming out. He was sure that Mengyao would definitely come out to see his fireworks show, and maybe she'd even fall in love with him. Yao Yao, go get some rest. Shu's right, you need some rest. Pin Liang said, following Yushu's lead. Mengyao was more than happy that Pin Liang wouldn't bother her anymore. Since he'd asked her to leave, Mengyao naturally wouldn't reject him. Yushu blinked at Pin Liang after Mengyao left. Liang Yi, what do you need from me? Just say it. Ugh. How did you know? Pinliang blinked. This Yushu really knew how to predict things. When have you ever come to me without asking for my help? Yushu grinned as she handed the shovel to Pinliang. Dig a hole for me first, then tell me what's going on. Okay. Pinliang quickly took the shovel and started digging, looking at Yushu gratefully. She'd always been a troublemaker when he asked for her help before, but she was being nice today. Mengyao would have fainted if she'd known about this. Yushu hadn't even promised Pinliang anything yet, and all she did was treat him nicely. Pinliang was probably the only idiot in this world who'd fall for something like that. I'm thirsty. Get your lackey to get me some cold drinks. Yushu said as she sat down on a pile of dirt, hugging her legs. Okay. Pinliang called out to Xiaofu, who wasn't far away. Xiaofu, go get some drinks, make it cold. Come back quick. Xiaofu left to get the drinks and Pinliang finally spoke up. Shu, I really do have something I need to get rid of you for. Oh, say it. What's the matter? I'll see if it's okay. Yushu nodded carelessly, a little unhappy that Pinliang had stopped digging. I'll do it myself if you don't want to. You don't need to say anything, let me finish first. I'll dig, how can I let you dig? Pinliang jumped and started digging again. I'll tell you as I dig. Here's the thing, there's a tree called the Eskimo tree and it's said to be a symbol of love. Legend has it that if you confess your love to a girl under this tree, she'll fall in love. You're not going to tell me that you brought an Eskimo tree here, are you? Chen Yushu asked. How could there be such an idiot in this world? How could he believe such an unreliable legend? Yeah, I sent one over by air. I've already asked Xiaofu to write some confession notes and hang them on the tree, Pinliang said. Is that so? Yushu replied indifferently as she played with her phone. Of course that's not the main show. I've prepared a show called Fireworks That Never Sleeps. I'm going to release fireworks on the tree and turn them into Yao Yao's name in the sky to confess my love to her. Pinliang didn't know if Yushu was listening to him. He gritted his teeth in anger, but he didn't dare get angry. Oh, there's fireworks? That's fun, I'll definitely go see it. Don't worry, I'll bring Yao Yao with me. Yushu naturally wanted to see the magical fireworks. That's great. Pinliang was overjoyed and his digging speed increased. It wasn't long before he had a big hole. Shu, do you think this hole will work? Sure, you can dig another one next to it. Yushu nodded, satisfied. Again. Pinliang's face turned bitter. One was already tiring enough and he still had to dig another one? This one's mine. You can dig another one for Yao Yao, but it's fine if you don't want to. I'll call Yao Yao over and tell her that you don't want to help her. Yushu stood up and went to call Meng Yao. Don't. Pinliang almost cried. He had worked so hard for so long just to dig for Meng Yao. If Yushu yelled at him like that, all his effort would go to waste. Who knew Yushu might do something bad to him and ruin the night? With that thought, Pinliang gritted his teeth. I'll keep digging. How can I let you and Yao Yao do it? Leave these things to us men. Then you can continue. Yao Yao said that she likes stronger guys, Yushu said as she sat down. I'm strong. Look at me, I'm not tired at all. I'm only using 30% of my strength. I can still speed up. Pinliang said quickly. It wasn't long before Xiaofu came running over with a few bottles of drinks. Liang bro, I bought them. Is this enough? It's enough. Pinliang waved his hand, signaling Xiaofu to leave. He handed 2 bottles to Yushu. Give one to Yao Yao as well? Yeah, I'll go then. Take your time, call me when you're done. Yushu said as she took the drinks and ran over to Meng Yao. Pinliang was sweating profusely as he dug with the shovel. He was trying to show off how strong he was. He was tired, but he was gritting his teeth with a smile on his face. Yao Yao, here's a bottle. Yushu handed one to Meng Yao. I'm not drinking. You drink it yourself. Meng Yao shook her head. She was usually careful not to leave any openings for Pinliang, especially when it came to things like this. Then I'll drink it myself. Yushu didn't care, she was already used to blackmailing Pinliang. You tricked him into digging? Meng Yao frowned as she watched Pinliang work hard. No, I just said that Yao Yao likes strong guys and he wanted to show off. Yushu said with a smile. Since when do I like strong guys? Meng Yao blinked. She didn't expect Yushu to come up with an excuse like this to trick Pinliang. Isn't Shield Bro very strong? You don't like him? Yushu asked. Chapter 438. And 4 drip Pinliang was drenched in sweat after digging 2 holes, but he could almost see Meng Yao looking at him with a face full of admiration. Liang bro, you really are my Prince Charming. Pinliang wiped the sweat off his forehead, feeling energized from head to toe. He wasn't tired anymore. He was daydreaming when Yushu walked over with a grin on her face. Liang, Yao Yao's asking if you're tired. I'm not tired, it's only been a while. I'm not tired at all. It wouldn't be a problem for me to dig 8 to 10 of these holes in one go. Pinliang said. Oh, that's great. Yao Yao said that she likes strong and helpful guys the most, so go help others dig their holes. Yushu said. Pinliang almost fell headfirst into the hole at Yushu's words. He still had to help others dig? But he'd already said what he'd said, wouldn't he be slapping his own face if he went back on his words now? Pinliang had no choice but to nod dejectedly. I'll go help others? Hee, we finally got rid of that idiot. Yao Yao, you can come over now, let's start planting trees. Yushu waved at Meng Yao. Shu, I really wonder why you're so dumb sometimes but so smart at other times. Tell me, are you faking it? Meng Yao was quite speechless at her best friend. Oh no, I'm a kid when I'm with Yao Yao. Yushu pulled on Meng Yao's arm. I'm not dumb. Alright, you're not dumb. I believe you. Meng Yao shook her head, deciding not to dwell on the problem. She picked up the sapling and started planting it. After a while, Meng Yao and Yushu finished planting the saplings and were about to head back to the classroom to rest when a couple of workers came running over with a strangely shaped sapling in their hands. Pinliang was at the front, directing them. Pinliang was so tired that his limbs were numb, but he had to act like he was fine in front of Meng Yao. Be careful guys, this is an imported sapling, don't damage it. He waved his arms and legs around. Be careful, this is an imported sapling, don't break it. Yao Yao, look, someone's really doing that stupid thing you said. Yushu pointed at Pinliang's Eskimo tree excitedly. Look, that tree's getting in 4 drip too. Meng Yao was speechless. Was Pinliang really that dumb? He'd gotten a tree within 4 drip? The tree would probably die if he didn't do that. Let's go back to class, don't worry about him. Alright. Yushu wanted to watch the show a little longer, but Pinliang still needed some time to prepare that firecracker silver flower. It wouldn't be too late to come out and watch when he was done. But Meng Yao and Yushu were just about to leave when Pinliang couldn't take it anymore, falling headfirst onto the ground. He really couldn't take it anymore. His legs were weak from all the digging, and he hadn't eaten anything since it was almost noon. His stomach was rumbling with hunger, and there was no way he'd be able to take it anymore. Yao Yao, Pinliang seems to have fainted. Yushu said, wanting to watch the show. Who cares, someone'll take care of it. Meng Yao didn't want to care about Pinliang's life. Just one look, I'll come back right away, alright? Yushu wasn't the type to pass up a show like this. Alright, I'll take a look from afar. Meng Yao nodded, having no other choice. Yushu, on the other hand, quickly ran over. Xiaofu was frantically trying to help Pinliang up. Liang bro, what's wrong? I'll take a look. Yushu ran over to Pinliang. Xiaofu didn't know if he should let Yushu take a look or not, but if even Pinliang didn't dare offend Yushu, how could he? He made space for her to come over. Oh, I know he must be too weak. Just give him some nutrient fluid and he'll be fine. Yushu's eyes darted around as she pulled out the needle from the Eskimo tree beside Pinliang and stuck it into Pinliang's butt. The eyes of the bystanders wide. The nutrient fluid for plants could be used on a person? Xiaofu's face changed, almost having a heart attack. Pinliang wouldn't die, would he? Ouch. Pinliang was woken up by the pain. How thick was the needle for the tree? Wouldn't it hurt like hell if it stuck him in the butt? Look, you're awake, aren't you? Yushu said proudly. I'm a miracle doctor. The bystanders almost fainted at Yushu's words. You call yourself a miracle doctor? But Pinliang did wake up. Yushu, of course, wasn't an idiot. She wouldn't murder someone in front of so many bystanders. There was a lot of meat on his butt and it wouldn't hurt much. Alright, you don't need to thank me. I'm leaving. With that, Yushu turned and ran away. But when Pinliang turned his head to look at the huge needle sticking out of his butt, he fainted again from the shock. What do we do? He fainted again. Should we pull the needle out and stick it in again? Xiaofu said, troubled as he looked at the unconscious Pinliang. Shu, how can you just do that? What if you kill him? Meng Yao said, shocked by Yushu's actions. I won't, I picked the fleshy parts to stick it in. Yushu said. Meng Yao didn't know what to say. Wasn't her best friend a little too cruel? Xiaolong called a couple of pet shops, but none of them had purebred German shepherds. There were purebred German shepherds, but Xiaolong compared them with dog poop. There was still quite a difference. So Xiaolong decided to get a purebred German shepherd. He asked around and found out that purebred German shepherds needed to be ordered, but the order period wasn't clear yet. It was a more expensive breed, and the pet shop would usually contact the supplier after there was a buyer. Xiaolong was in a rush and naturally he couldn't wait for them to order. He could only use his connections to find out if there were any German shepherds in Donghai, and he really did find out. The owner of a big hotel in Donghai had a German Shepherd, and coincidentally he was a friend of Xiaolong's grandpa. He even went to Xiaolong's birthday celebration. Chapter 439. Chapter 439, Testing. This was a serious matter that concerned the future of House Kong, and so Dr. Kong took it very seriously. He called the owner of the hotel after talking to Xiaolong. He seemed to remember the owner bringing a dog with him on the day of the birthday banquet, but he didn't pay much attention to the dog at the time. He didn't know if it was a German Shepherd or not. "Mr. Zhang? I'm Kong Lai Kai." Dr. Kong had a good relationship with the owner of the hotel. Other than the big houses, all the other businessmen had a good relationship with House Kong. After all, House Kong was one of the most successful businessmen among them. They weren't as successful as the big houses, but they were much stronger than them. "Hello, Dr. Kong. What can I do for you?" The owner of the hotel asked curiously. Why would Dr. Kong call him personally? Even if they had contact, it would be through the eldest son of Dr. Kong, Kong Guifeng. "It's like this. I heard that you have a German Shepherd?" Dr. Kong asked. "Oh, I do have one." Mr. Zhang paused. He didn't know why Dr. Kong would suddenly bring this up. "My wife doesn't have much to do at home and she likes dogs. I think we brought that shepherd to your birthday banquet." "Mr. Zhang, my grandson Xiaolong likes German Shepherds. We've been to many pet shops but we couldn't find one. I wouldn't be asking for it otherwise." Dr. Kong hesitated. Asking for a dog from Mr. Zhang might raise suspicions, but the situation was urgent. He didn't have time to think about it. Besides, even if Mr. Zhang suspected something, he wouldn't think that he was after dog poop. "Oh, so Dr. Kang's grandson likes German Shepherds? That's it? I'll get someone to send it to you later." Mr. Zhang paused. He didn't think that Dr. Kong would call to ask for a dog. What kind of big deal was this? With the Kong family's current power and financial resources, what dog couldn't they buy? Mr. Zhang didn't think much about the fact that Mr. Kong was calling him to ask for the dog, so he agreed without much thought. "Miracle Dr. Kong, this dog of mine is a little special. My wife has been spoiling it since it was young, and it often steals food from our house, pees and defecates everywhere. If you hadn't mentioned this, I would have sold it or given it to someone else. But since I'm giving it to you, I have to tell you this first, I can't lie to you." Dr. Kong thought to himself, "Isn't it good to poop?" He was afraid that it wouldn't poop, so he said, "This is just a small problem. It's not a big deal. Thank you so much for helping me, Director Zhang. When the time comes, I'll definitely get Xiaolong to come and thank you personally." "Haha, it's no big deal. Since Dr. Kong says there's no problem, I'll get someone to send the German Shepherd to you later," Mr. Zhang said. Mr. Zhang was one of the people who fawned over the Kangs, so it didn't take long for the German Shepherd to be delivered to the Kang's mansion. After Xiaolong got the German Shepherd, he fed it a huge meal of dog food and finally received a warm puddle of dog poop. "It's the same. Exactly the same. After our lab analysis, we found that the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing's composition is exactly the same as this dog's poop. Our previous analysis was correct. The pill of life extension and toxin cleansing's composition is the German Shepherd's poop." Xiaolong excitedly took the analysis report and returned to the villa to report the good news to Dr. Kong. "It's really the same?" Dr. Kong couldn't hold back his excitement as well. He slammed his palm on the coffee table in front of him, almost knocking over the tea on it. One could imagine how excited he was right now. "It's really the same. We've got the composition of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing," Xiaolong said. "Next, we can start the clinical trial." Good. There's hope for House Kong." Dr. Kong threw his head back in laughter. "Xiaolong, you and Xiaoming are working hard this time. While you're buying purebred German Shepherds in bulk, get someone to try this dog poop and see if it's effective. Grandpa, I don't recommend getting outsiders to test it." Xiaolong shook his head. "Our research on the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing is still in a secretive stage, and we shouldn't let outsiders know about this. Even if we don't tell them it's dog poop, they'll probably be able to guess it, so we suggest that it's better for our own family to test it. You're right, go get your dad, your second uncle and Xiaoming over. We'll discuss this together." Dr. Kong stood up and closed the curtains. Xiaolong was right, this was the family's top priority, and they couldn't let outsiders get involved. If the recipe were to be leaked, the losses wouldn't be small. In Dr. Kang's study, Kong Guifeng, Kong Tsuepu, Kong Xiaolong and Kong Mingming sat on the sofa. Dr. Kong, on the other hand, was sitting on his chair with his eyes closed, deep in thought. No one dared to disturb him, and they all sat on the side carefully, waiting for Dr. Kong to speak. After a while, Dr. Kong opened his eyes. This dog poop has been classified as House Kang's #1 secret. Only the few of us know about it. Don't tell anyone else, including your current and future wives. Understood. Kang Guifeng knew the importance of this. Once the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was successfully developed, House Kang would be in a completely different position. As a result, this recipe couldn't be leaked. Cui Pu and Xiaolong nodded as well. Even Kang Mingming understood the importance of this. He quickly promised, "Grandpa, don't worry, we won't tell anyone." All right. Next up, we'll be researching the clinical trial. Xiaoming had enough trouble with it before, so this time he won't be participating. Dr. Kong said. This time Guifeng, Cuipu, Xiaolong and I will be the ones to test it. Grandpa, I'm fine. Kang Mingming had been full of energy ever since he'd taken half of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Naturally, he wanted to participate as well. Since you've requested it, then let's participate as well. Dog poop doesn't go bad even if it doesn't taste good. Dr. Kong nodded, not insisting. I'll take the remaining half of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. You guys split the dog poop. Miracle, Dr. Kong said as he pointed at the 2 boxes on the coffee table. Dr. Kong wasn't an idiot. Although it looked like the dog poop was the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, he couldn't guarantee that it was the case. As a result, he decided to take the remaining half of the pill. Kang Mingming actually wanted to take the other half of the pill, but seeing that his grandpa had taken the initiative, he didn't want to argue. He could only nod in agreement. Chapter 440. Chapter 440, Xiao Xiao's weird behavior. The students returned to their classrooms after planting the trees. They didn't need much supervision from the teachers after all. If they wanted to learn, they'd learn, and if they didn't, like Zhou Ruoming, there was no point in forcing them. Meng Yao and Yushu went back to the classroom and looked at their MP4 for a while before taking out their revision materials. The bridge of college entrance exams wouldn't get wider just because they were pretty, and the two didn't want to rely on their families. They wanted to get good grades on their own. Tang Yun and Lin Yi finished planting the tree, and Tang Yun went back to her classroom to study. She'd been busy with her father's surgery and her relationship with Lin Yi recently, so she didn't put much effort into her studies. If she didn't work hard, her grades would drop. As much as Tang Yun wanted to spend more time with Lin Yi, what if she couldn't get into college? After lunch, Tang Yun and Lin Yi went to the food street behind the school to see Mrs. Tang before going back to their respective classrooms. Xiao Xiao sat in her seat eating her lunch. She was alone and there was no one around. Lin Yi walked over and Xiao Xiao only raised her head to look at him before going back to eating. This restaurant's lunch isn't clean. I ate it before and there was a fly in it. Lin Yi said with a smile as he looked at the logo on Xiao Xiao's lunch. Pfft. Xiao Xiao spat out the rib she just put in her mouth before glaring at Lin Yi. Did you do that on purpose? Ha, I was just reminding you. Lin Yi shrugged. Sitting at the same table with Xiao Xiao made Lin Yi feel uneasy. He had to think of a way to get rid of her. Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi hatefully. Fine, you asked for it. She'd thought that blowing up his butt was a bit too much, but since you're so evil, she'd make sure to make a fool out of you tonight. Pin Liang sent a text to Xiao Xiao, informing her that he could move on to the next step of his plan when it was time for the night self-study session. Xiao Xiao wasn't worried that Lin Yi wouldn't come out to watch the show. Since Yushu and Meng Yao were going out, there was no way that Lin Yi, a bodyguard and follower, wouldn't stay out. As expected, Yushu received Pin Liang's message as well. Yao Yao, let's go get some fresh air? It's so boring in the classroom. Now. Meng Yao frowned. She just started on a set of math simulations, and Yushu was already leaving before she could even finish the first question? Yeah, I heard someone was setting off fireworks in the field. Let's go check it out? Yushu said. Fireworks? It can't be that Zhong Pingliang guy, right? Meng Yao wasn't stupid. She guessed what was going on immediately. Yeah, Yao Yao, are you coming? Yushu didn't hide the fact that Meng Yao had guessed it. No. Meng Yao shook her head. I can't go myself if you don't want to, can I? It's already dark outside and it's scary. What if I get scared? Yushu said as she grabbed Meng Yao, wanting to drag her out by force. You can get scared? Meng Yao didn't believe it. You killed all the ghosts in the theme park. But Yushu insisted, and Meng Yao had no choice but to stand up and go with her. Pin Liang's going to set off fireworks to confess to Meng Yao. Aren't you going to go check it out? Xiao Xiao explained, seeing that Lin Yi wasn't planning on getting up. Fireworks? Lin Yi thought that the two girls were going to the washroom, so he didn't pay much attention. But now that Xiao Xiao said this, he really had to go check it out. As for Xiao Xiao knowing about this beforehand, Lin Yi wasn't surprised at all. She hung out with Pinliang all the time, so of course she knew about his plans. But Lin Yi was a little puzzled. Why would Xiao Xiao be so kind as to warn him? Did she have some other purpose? Lin Yi stepped out of the classroom and Xiao Xiao followed right behind him. Lin Yi felt someone following him, and when he turned the corner he saw Xiao Xiao's silhouette through the glass of the staircase. She really did follow him. Lin Yi smiled faintly. Xiao Xiao probably wouldn't let what happened yesterday go that easily. She'd been silent all this time, waiting for the right moment to explode. The forest behind the school was already filled with students who'd gotten the news. There were students from 1st grade to 3rd grade, and even some middle school students who'd been out of school were attracted here. It seemed like the news of Pinliang's fireworks had gotten out a long time ago, and it had already attracted this much attention. Pinliang and Xiaofu stood beside a tree filled with fireworks and notes. Pinliang hated Yushu as much as he wanted to, since his butt was still swollen from Yushu's poke. Yushu had almost destroyed his butt and it was still swollen up. How could a needle for a tree be poked into a person's body? Pinliang, on the other hand, had no choice but to maintain a smile on his face. He needed Yushu's help to invite Mengyao to the Nightless Club's courtship party. Young bro, Mengyao and Yushu are here, and Lin Yi isn't far behind them. Xiaofu whispered to Pinliang. I saw them. Go get Mengyao and Yushu and tell Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao to come in as well. I've already told Xiao Xiao what to do later. Just wait for Lin Yi to get into trouble. Pinliang said quietly. Okay Liang bro. Xiaofu nodded and made a path for the students. Move aside everyone. Let today's female lead in. Xiaofu's words were very useful to normal students in school. Mengyao, Yushu, Liang bros ready. We're just waiting for you. Xiaofu made a gesture. We'll just watch from here but we're going. Mengyao didn't want to get close. She wasn't interested in this nightless fireworks party at all. Yao Yao, let's go, we can't see it from here. Yushu pulled Mengyao over, not letting her say anything. I still want to keep giving Pinliang the 4. Mengyao had no choice but to let Yushu pull her over. She knew her best friend's personality too. She just liked watching the fun, not helping Pinliang. Lin Yi followed from afar and Xiao Xiao followed as well. But this time Xiao Xiao passed Lin Yi and went to help Pinliang. Chapter 441. Chapter 441. Unlucky Xiao Xiao. Tonight's female lead, school beauty Miss Mengyao, has arrived. Let's invite our male lead to light up the fireworks of his love for her. Gao Xiaofu had gotten his hands on a megaphone that street vendors used to sell vegetables. He held it up like an MC and shouted. Mengyao frowned. This was what annoyed her the most. Pinliang would always come up with all sorts of weird ideas like writing blood letters and whatnot. Mengyao was speechless. How could this guy be even more stupid than Shu? Plus he was the real one and Shu was the fake one. Xiao Xiao acted like she didn't care when she walked past Lin Yi, picking up a string of firecrackers on the ground and sticking it into Lin Yi's pants. She didn't stop and went off to do something else. Ah. Lin Yi smiled faintly. So this was what this girl was planning. She wanted to blow him up with firecrackers? Was she thinking too much? But Lin Yi didn't expose her immediately. He pretended like he didn't see anything, his eyes still on Mengyao and Yushu. Xiao Xiao's heart was pounding as well. Lin Yi wasn't a normal person after all. What if he found out? There were a lot of people in the field and it was noisy, but Lin Yi's awareness wasn't low either. But Xiao Xiao didn't see any reaction from Lin Yi after hanging the firecracker on his butt. She breathed out in relief, thinking that Lin Yi was probably focused on Mengyao and Yushu, ignoring everything else around him. Pinliang was about to light up the fireworks on the tree when Xiao Xiao sneakily hid behind Lin Yi with a lighter. She'd light up the firecracker on Lin Yi's body as Pinliang lit up the fireworks. That way it'd make it look like Pinliang's fireworks were too intense, and half of the firecracker was blown over. If Lin Yi wanted to blame someone, he'd only have himself to blame for being in the wrong place. Whoosh! Pinliang lit up the fireworks, one that he'd ordered from the factory as well. It would form the words Yao Yao, I love you in the air. It looked simple but he'd spent a lot of money on it. At the same time Xiao Xiao lit up the firecracker on Lin Yi's butt, gleefully turning around to hide. Ha! Lin Yi smiled faintly as he quickly removed the firecracker from his body and hung it on Xiao Xiao's butt, tying a dead knot. But the tragic thing was that Xiao Xiao was so focused on running that she didn't even realize that Lin Yi had hung the firecracker on her butt. After a few steps she realized that she was dragging something behind her, hitting her leg. She turned around, confused, and screamed. Ah! Xiao Xiao was going crazy. Wasn't the firecracker on Lin Yi? Why was it on her? She raised her head to look at Lin Yi, only to see Lin Yi nodding at her with an evil smile on his face. Xiao Xiao wanted to remove the firecracker on her back, but she realized that Lin Yi had tied a dead knot that she couldn't untie at all. The fuse was about to burn out and Xiao Xiao was starting to panic. She couldn't just take off her pants in front of the whole school, could she? That'd be so embarrassing. Just as Xiao Xiao was hesitating, the fuse burned out, and the firecrackers started exploding. Xiao Xiao was scared out of her wits as she ran over to Pin Liang yelling, "Help! Water, do you have water?" Pin Liang was feeling proud of his work, preparing to shock everyone with the words, "Yao Yao, I love you," in the sky when he heard Xiao Xiao's cry for help. Wah! Pin Liang's eyes went wide as he stared at the firecracker exploding behind Xiao Xiao's butt. Wasn't she the one hanging on Lin Yi? How did it end up on her body? Xiao Xiao had even given him a signal to tell him to follow the plan after she'd hung up the firecracker. Why did the firecracker switch positions all of a sudden? Lil sis Xiao Xiao you. Pin Liang looked at Xiao Xiao confused. Don't talk so much, get me some water to put out the firecrackers. Xiao Xiao was panicking. She didn't have the time to explain to Pin Liang. The firecrackers were already up to her pants and they were about to reach her, but water. Water. Pin Liang looked around, but there was no water around here. He did get a few buckets of water when he planted the trees, but they were all poured into the soil. The firecrackers were already on Xiao Xiao's, but as Pin Liang was hesitating, burning a couple of holes in her butt. Xiao Xiao was on the verge of crying, and she couldn't care less about her image anymore as she rolled around on the ground, finally extinguishing the firecrackers. However, the fabric of her pants was already burnt beyond recognition, and it hurt. Xiao Xiao was sure that even her underwear was showing, and so she didn't even dare stand up. Her eyes were filled with grievance and she wanted to cry. But she gritted her teeth and didn't cry. Xiao Xiao, I can't cry. I don't need other people's pity, crying is just a sign of weakness. Xiao Xiao took a deep breath and sat on the ground. Take off your shirt and give it to me. Ah? My shirt? Pin Liang blinked. Hurry up. Don't waste time. Xiao Xiao frowned. Alright. Alright. Pin Liang couldn't afford to piss off Xiao Xiao, be it her background or herself. Pin Liang couldn't afford to offend her at all. Since Xiao Xiao had spoken, Pin Liang had no choice but to take off his shirt and give it to her. Xiao Xiao took Pin Liang's jacket and quickly wrapped it around her waist before walking out of the crowd, heading for the school gates. Xiao Xiao didn't feel good at all. She'd wanted Lin Yi to embarrass himself, but now she was the one being humiliated. She didn't notice if the crowd was laughing at her, but she was sure that she was the laughingstock now. Getting her butt blown up by firecrackers and she was a girl. This was as embarrassing as it could get. Lin Yi, I'm going to eat you up. Xiao Xiao was going crazy as she sat in her car, gritting her teeth and using the steering wheel as if it was Lin Yi, smashing it violently before she finally calmed down. Chapter 442. Chapter 442. Remedy. Pin Liang, naturally, didn't wear a lot of clothes in the summer. He only had a casual shirt on, and after giving it to Xiao Xiao he was shirtless. It didn't seem to fit the image of him confessing to Meng Yao, and it made the surrounding students snicker. Pin Liang's face darkened as he raged. What are you laughing at? Have you never seen a man as strong as me? It was fine if Pin Liang didn't say anything, but the moment he did, the students started laughing. The law didn't punish the masses. These students were usually afraid of Pin Liang, but in the dark night, they couldn't tell who was laughing and who wasn't. Pin Liang couldn't do anything to them. Yao Yao, please let me use fireworks to express my love to you. Pin Liang raised his head, wanting to point at the fireworks in the sky to confess to Meng Yao, only to realize that the fireworks were almost done. Xiao Xiao had asked for his clothes at the same time, but everyone's attention was on Xiao Xiao, and no one noticed the words Yao Yao, I love you in the sky. Pin Liang's effort was wasted. The fireworks were gone. They were all gone. Pin Liang didn't know what to say after that. What could he say without the help of fireworks? Go see if there are any more fireworks. Pin Liang ordered Xiaofu, his face livid. Gao Xiaofu hurriedly ran to the Eskimo tree to check on the few fireworks, but it seemed that they had all been set off. There was nothing left to set off. Gao Xiaofu did not give up. He used a lighter to light up the fireworks. However, the sky was already dark and he could not see clearly. He accidentally used a branch as a fuse, and with a whoosh the Eskimo tree was set on fire. Pin Liang didn't know what was going on at first, thinking that Xiaofu was making fireworks again. But then he realized that something wasn't right. Why wasn't the fireworks shooting into the sky? Why was it burning on the tree? Liang bro, it's bad. I lit the tree on fire. Gao Xiaofu patted the fire a few times but failed to extinguish it. He became anxious and shouted, "Brother Liang, come and help." Ah. Xiaofu's actions drew a round of laughter. Pinliang's confession had turned into a farce. Put out the fire. Get someone to get water. Pinliang ran over with a dark face, looking at his Eskimo tree. He wanted to cry but no tears came out. "Oh Yao Yao, I see the fire tree but I don't see the silver flowers." Yushu cried out in surprise. "Shu, let's stay away from this kind of idiotic behavior. It's easy to cause a fire." Mengyao was speechless at Pinliang's actions, especially Xiao Xiao's. What was Xiao Xiao trying to do just now? "Wait Yao Yao sis, I have to remind them." With that, Yushu called out to Pinliang. "Break the bottle and use the water inside to put out the fire." "All right, right." Pinliang nodded quickly before instructing Xiaofu to carry out the task. Yushu giggled and left with Mengyao. "Shu, you're getting worse and worse. How much is there in the bottle? How could it be used to extinguish a fire?" "You're a scammer," Mengyao said. "Who told him to believe it?" "Yao Yao sis wouldn't have been scammed. That means Pinliang's a big idiot," Yushu said confidently. The next day Xiao Xiao didn't come to school, and Linny was happy to have some peace and quiet. He didn't know that Xiao Xiao was lying on the bed, cursing him. If curses could kill, Linny would have died in all sorts of ways already. "Linny, you bastard. I'm going to flush you down the toilet." Xiao Xiao didn't even dare go to the washroom. Her butt was burning with pain and the firecrackers were all red and white. She'd applied Dr. Kang's Jinshuang medicine, but it was good for external injuries. It wasn't very effective on burns like this. This Dr. Kang is clearly a scammer. It's useless and he's selling it at such a high price. I'll blow his whole family up the next time I see him. Xiao Xiao thought hatefully. Pinliang had a bitter look on his face as well. He'd put so much effort into planning the confession yesterday, but it had ended in a farce. It made him angry but he couldn't vent it out. Xiao Xiao was the one who'd ruined it, and even if he wanted to complain, he didn't dare say anything. What the hell happened yesterday? Didn't they say they'd hang the firecrackers on Lin Yi's butt? How did it turn into Xiao Xiao? Pinliang was punished by Wang Jifeng. He was no longer the nephew of a shareholder, but a normal student who paid for his own expenses. Who knows? I saw Xiao Xiao sneaking over to Lin Yi's side, but I didn't see what happened after. Xiaofu shook his head. What a waste of a good opportunity. Pinliang wasn't happy. He clenched his fists and released them weakly. I'm about to graduate, I don't know if I still have a chance. Liang bro, I think you messed things up yesterday but you've already expressed your feelings. Mengyao should know what you're thinking so the process isn't important. What matters is the result. Xiaofu analyzed. Why don't you ask Yushu and see if Mengyao's interested? Alright, that's the only way. Pinliang nodded. After the first class, Pinliang sent Yushu a text, asking her to meet him in front of the classroom. Liangi, you're looking for me? Yushu went to meet him without hesitation. Pinliang didn't have any feelings for her, he just wanted to ask about Mengyao. Haha yeah Shu, I'm really sorry about yesterday, I messed things up. What did Mengyao say? Pinliang asked carefully. Yao Yao, she didn't say anything but she seemed pretty disappointed. She didn't think it was fun, did she? Yushu blinked and hesitated. Man, I knew I'd disappoint her yesterday, but did she say anything to make up for it? Pinliang asked. Well, I didn't ask. Oh, alright, I want to eat the fried mushrooms from the night market. Yushu stretched. I'll go buy some mushrooms at noon, I'll ask around for you later, but I might forget. Wait, I'll go get that. It's just fried mushrooms, I'll go. Pinliang hurriedly said, Shu, just help me ask if there's anything I can do to remedy this. Alright then. Yushu nodded and went back to the classroom. Chapter 443. Chapter 443 Failure. Mengyao noticed that Yushu was deep in thought during class. She didn't know what she was thinking about, so she asked, Shu, what on earth are you doing? What are you doing here and there? Yao Yao, I'm thinking if I have any wishes that I haven't fulfilled yet. Yushu felt that all of her wishes had been fulfilled, and there was nothing left for Pinliang to do. Wishes? Don't you want to eat shark meat? Mengyao didn't know what Yushu was up to, so she reminded her. Oh, yes, I want to eat shark meat. Yushu waved her hands excitedly at Mengyao's reminder. I want Pinliang to take me to eat shark meat. Pinliang? Take you to eat shark meat? Mengyao blinked. Yeah, he asked me just now if there was anything I could do to make you happier. Yushu said. Don't go to him. If you want to eat shark meat, get Linny to catch it for you. Mengyao didn't want anything to do with Pinliang. Don't worry Yao Yao. I'll be the one talking to Pinliang. I won't drag you into this. Yushu was already used to this sort of thing. Whatever you want. Mengyao didn't care anymore. Yushu had done this sort of thing way too many times in the past 3 years, and Mengyao was already numb to it. But Mengyao was a little doubtful. How could Pinliang still trust Yushu after falling for it so many times? It was the last class of the morning, and Pinliang decided to skip it altogether. He brought Xiaofu to the night market and bought 2 servings of fried mushrooms before returning to school. He finally managed to get the 2 servings in front of Yushu before the lunch break. "Oh, I'll tell you after I'm done. It won't be crispy anymore when it gets cold." Yushu waved her hand, signaling for Pinliang to leave. Pinliang nodded and bowed as he returned to his seat. He and Xiaofu had bought some steamed buns, and Pinliang couldn't eat too much since he had something on his mind. When Yushu was done with the fried mushrooms, Pinliang stood up abruptly and chased after Yushu. Yushu went to toss the mushroom lunchbox at Pinliang, giggling to herself when she saw the impatient look on his face. There was actually such a foolish person. He hadn't had enough of being deceived, and he was in a hurry to be deceived. "I say, Liangzi, can't you let me stop for a bit? You're following me around when I'm taking out the trash?" Yushu pretended to be unhappy as she looked at Pinliang. Little Shu, I'm just anxious. I'll throw it for you." Pinliang took the stuff from Yushu's hands. "What did Yao Yao say?" "She said that what happened yesterday was okay, but she's been under a lot of pressure from school lately, and she wants to go out and have some fun. The summer camp is in May and she wants to go out now." Yushu had already made up an excuse. "Oh, going out to play? That's great." Pinliang was on the verge of cheering. His dream was to go on a date with Mengyao. "What are you thinking? How could Sister Yao Yao go out alone with you? It's not like she's your girlfriend right now." Yushu rolled her eyes at Pinliang. However, Pinliang wasn't disappointed at all. Instead, he was excited. Yushu said that she wasn't his girlfriend right now, which meant that she might be in the future. Mengyao still had feelings for him? Pinliang was unusually happy at the thought. "Shu, where do you think Mengyao wants to go? How about the beach? Organize a spring outing and let all of our classmates go. Otherwise, Yao Yao sis won't go with you alone." Yushu said. "Sure, no problem. It's just a spring outing, right? I'll organize it in a bit." With a goal in mind, Pinliang nodded and went to help Yushu throw out the trash. Yushu hummed a song as she went back to class after taking care of Pinliang. What surprised Dr. Kong and his family was that the trial had no effect at all. The entire family, including Dr. Kong who'd taken the original pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, suffered from varying degrees of nausea and diarrhea, but there were no signs of detoxification at all. Other than diarrhea and sweat, there were no signs of detoxification at all. Miracle Dr. Kong forced his weak body to sit in his study. He had no choice but to call for an emergency family meeting to discuss this matter. "Xiaolong, what's the problem? Why aren't we detoxifying?" Dr. Kong was confused. Even if there was something wrong with the composition of the dog poop, he'd taken the original pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Kong Ming had taken half of it and there were obvious effects. He'd taken the other half, so why was he no different from someone who'd eaten dog poop? "I don't know, Grandpa. Logically speaking, the ingredients are dog poop, and what you ate was the original pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. How could it not have any effect?" Xiaolong said, feeling weak and dizzy. "Could it be that it varies from person to person?" Dr. Kong asked, confused. "I don't think so, Grandpa. I didn't have any effects this time either." Kong Ming stood up, clutching his stomach. "I can't take it anymore. I'm going to shit my pants. I need to go to the bathroom." With that, Kong Ming ran out of the study with a bunch of smelly farts. But no one complained about his smelly farts because everyone in the room was smelly today. Xiaoming's right, he didn't have any effects either. Did something go wrong with our experiment? Dr. Kong nodded. "That. Grandpa, I've thought of everything but there's no way to explain it." Xiaolong shook his head. "Could it be that what Xiaoming ate was different from what you ate?" "Different? Wasn't it the same pill that was split into 2 parts?" Dr. Kong frowned. "I'm just guessing and I don't have any proof right now. But now that I think about it, our research direction was wrong," Xiaolong said. "We were all blinded by excitement, thinking that the most impossible thing was the most possible, that dog poop was the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. But now that we think about it, is it really that simple? So you're saying that the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing isn't dog poop?" Dr. Kong calmed down and thought about it. Xiaolong's words weren't unreasonable. Something as miraculous as the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was just dog poop, wasn't it too simple? "Yes, it's just a guess, but I have 2 bold theories. Xiaolong was the most educated member of the Kangs after all. His analysis was clear and logical. Chapter 444. Chapter 444, Dr. Kang's plan. First, the pill that Kang Xiaobo gave us was indeed the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but his branch has always been at odds with us, so he didn't want us to be too well off even if he gave us the pill. That's why he mixed dog poop into the pill. Xiaolong said. With Kang Xiaobo's age, he's quite capable of pulling a prank like this. So you're saying that Kang Xiaobo purposely mixed dog poop with the pill and sent it over? Dr. Kang thought about it. Xiaolong's analysis wasn't impossible, and Kang Xiaobo really could have done that, making him eat dog poop along with the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. That's a possibility. Xiaolong nodded. So the half that Xiaoming ate earlier might have been the pill's half, and the half you ate was dog poop. Dr. Kang regretted it a little. He would have eaten it himself if he'd known this would happen. Why did he have to let Kang Ming eat it? The second possibility is that something happened to the pill when it was thrown into the trash. Maybe it was mixed with dog poop, or maybe it was mixed with dog poop by accident. Xiaolong said. But no matter what, dog poop shouldn't be the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Our research direction is wrong. Dr. Kang's face was dark and he didn't say a word. In fact, he didn't know what to say. It was fortunate that this had happened within the Kang family, and no outsiders knew about it. Otherwise they'd be laughing their heads off. Miracle Dr. Kang's entire family was eating dog poop. It was the biggest joke in the world. Kang Ming had finished pooping by now and returned to the study. So, any conclusions? What you ate earlier might not be dog poop, but there's no way to prove it. Dr. Kang said simply, in any case the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing isn't dog-t. This matter ends here for now. Don't tell anyone else. Kang Guifeng, Xiaolong and the others all nodded. Nonsense, who would take the initiative to tell others about such a shameful thing? Xiaolong, I think it's time to bring up your marriage with the Xiao family's Wang Xinyan. Dr. Kang immediately thought of the Xiao family's marriage after the failure of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Alright, then I'll go to Yanjin in a few days to send the betrothal gifts and settle the marriage. Xiaolong was disappointed as well. He thought that House Kang would be able to soar into the sky this time, but it was all for naught. Yeah, it's just an engagement, so I won't be going. Guifeng, take Xiaolong with you, Dr. Kang instructed his eldest son, Kang Guifeng. Yes, father. Kang Guifeng nodded. There's one more thing, Tsuepu. I'll leave it to you. Dr. Kang turned to Tsuepu. Tsuepu paused. He was the prodigal son of the family, and there wasn't much he could do other than eat, drink and play all day. Why was his father asking him to do something for the first time? But he was still very happy inside. The pill of life extension and toxin cleansing wasn't a success, but with Kang Ming's involvement, the father and son duo were clearly valued by Dr. Kang. Dad, just tell me. I'll do my best. Tsuepu promised. You have a lot of friends in society, so pay close attention to Kang Xiaobo's family. Since that friend of Kang Xiaobo's could get his hands on the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, then he must know some master. Find out who they've been in contact with, and if there really is a master, we'll definitely get him to work for us. Dr. Kang said. I'm good at that, leave it to me. Tsuepu patted his chest and promised. With that, the matter was settled, and the farce of Dr. Kang's family solving the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing came to an end. But Dr. Kang didn't give up yet. The pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was a symbol of wealth and status. If the Kangs could really get their hands on it, then they'd be much more powerful than they were now. Xiao Xiao came to school in the afternoon, and what surprised Lin Yi was that she was still very calm. At least, there wasn't much anger on her face. It was the same as that time when Lin Yi had poured his piss on her, nothing could be seen on her face. Lin Yi guessed that she was planning her next revenge. Lin Yi felt wronged. Why did this girl have to make life difficult for him? If he couldn't mess with her, why couldn't he just avoid her? Since you're here, then I'll leave. Lin Yi decided to skip class in the afternoon. He'd received a call from Xu Amin earlier, saying that Fatty Lai had already completed the transfer of the building's ownership. As long as Lin Yi nodded, it would be transferred to Guan Xian's name. The medicine that Xu Amin had applied for approval had also been approved. In the medical world, with Xu Amin's connections, this wasn't a difficult matter. It was just a formality, and the medicine company was right in front of him. The only thing missing was a professional manager. Lin Yi used this chance to go to Xu Amin's place to discuss the medicine company. As for Xiao Xiao, he'd leave her alone in school. Seeing Lin Yi leave, Xiao Xiao's lips curled into a subtle smile. She couldn't wait for Lin Yi to leave. She wanted to have a good talk with Kang Xiaobo about Lin Yi's weakness. From the looks of it, messing around like this wasn't a solution at all. Lin Yi's skills were far beyond his imagination, and his reflexes were also unimaginable. Even after the firecracker had been lit, he was still able to take it off his body and tie it to himself, even tying it into a knot. His reaction speed shocked Xiao Xiao. Sitting on the thick cushion, Xiao Xiao poked Kang Xiaobo's back. "Do you have time? Can you tell me about your boss?" Kang Xiaobo had witnessed the firecracker explosion yesterday, and he was wondering what was going on. He wanted to ask about it, but he didn't know how to ask Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao took the initiative to talk to him. "Yesterday, what happened to you? Why did you get blown up by the firecrackers?" Kang Xiaobo wasn't with Lin Yi yesterday, so he didn't see what happened. "It was an accident. Let's not talk about that. Tell me about Lin Yi." Xiao Xiao evidently didn't want to talk about the firecrackers. "You saw it too. Lin Yi left the moment I came. He's obviously avoiding me." Xiao Xiao looked at Kang Xiaobo bitterly. She was as pitiful as she could be, like a woman who got dumped. It was impossible not to sympathize with her. Chapter 445. Chapter 445, Lin Yi was stunned. "Right, you didn't finish what you told me last time. I want to go after Lin Yi. What do I have to do?" Xiao Xiao lowered her voice. "Oh, I don't think it's too hard. Boss is a soft-hearted person and he can be persuaded but not cowed. Reality has proven that if you were to be a little more gentle and act coquettishly, Boss wouldn't ignore you anymore." Kang Xiaobo said after some hesitation. It wasn't right to talk about his boss behind his back, but Xiao Xiao was quite pitiful. She was a girl who transferred schools for the man she loved, but not only did she not receive his understanding and praise, she was even given the cold shoulder. This made Kang Xiaobo sympathize with her, and so he spoke a little more. "Lin Yi can be persuaded but not cowed, huh?" Xiao Xiao couldn't help but pause after hearing Kang Xiaobo's words. Kang Xiaobo was one of the closest people to Lin Yi, and now that he said that, did that mean that there was something wrong with her strategy? It seemed that blindly trying to make Lin Yi look bad or threaten him wouldn't have any effect, and might even have the opposite effect. It seemed that she would have to change her plan in order to make Lin Yi submit. "Yeah, I think that girls need to learn how to act coquettishly. Look at you, you don't even know how to act coquettishly. How could Boss like you?" Kang Xiaobo said matter-of-factly. "You know, sis-in-law Tang Yun isn't any worse than you, she's even a little taller than you. If you really like Boss, then you need to be gentle." "Is that so?" Xiao Xiao frowned. He wanted her to be a little gentler? Be gentle to a boy? What a joke. She was Xiao Xiao. Why would she try to please a boy? Wouldn't people laugh their heads off if they found out? No, definitely not. Especially acting coquettishly. Since when did she know how to act coquettishly? She'd never acted coquettishly before, so how could she? But if she didn't do that, then Lin Yi wouldn't teach her how to race. Was racing really that important? Xiao Xiao was at a loss. She'd wanted to find Lin Yi because Lin Yi ignored her last time, and she was a little pissed off. A little follower was acting all cocky with her. She'd been pissed, and finding Lin Yi was just a way to vent her frustration. Learning to race with him was just a condition. Xiao Xiao had wanted to ask Lin Yi to teach her how to race, and Lin Yi would have agreed, but he didn't even look at her. That was fine, Xiao Xiao could take it, but what she couldn't take it was that Lin Yi drenched her with his piss and tied the firecrackers to her but with a dead knot. Tianyi Lin too. Xiao Xiao couldn't take it anymore. She wanted revenge. This wasn't as simple as learning to race. She hated Lin Yi to the core, and she had to make Lin Yi pay a price to appease her anger. With that, Kang Xiaobo's suggestion really needed to be thought. The key was how to do it. Even if Xiao Xiao was acting coquettishly to Lin Yi, asking Lin Yi to teach her how to race, it was just a small matter to Xiao Xiao. Racing or not wasn't important anymore, she had to make Lin Yi pay. Right. Xiao Xiao's eyes lit up. Since Lin Yi liked Tang Yun, then she'd really be the third party and ruin the relationship between Lin Yi and Tang Yun. Then she'd make Lin Yi fall in love with her, and then she'd dump Lin Yi. Haha, when Lin Yi couldn't pull himself out, she'd tell him the truth and he'd probably be crying by then, wouldn't he? With that thought, Xiao Xiao was filled with fighting spirit. With her beauty, wouldn't it be easy to get Lin Yi? No matter how close he was with Tang Yun, they weren't in the same class. He and Lin Yi, on the other hand, were in the same class. They were desk mates too. Wouldn't it be too much of a failure if he couldn't win this battle of love with Lin Yi with this kind of advantage? Xiao Xiao's expression kept changing, happy, angry, and hopeful. Kang Xiaobo thought that she'd thought it through. I'm telling you this because I pity you, but don't ruin the relationship between Boss and Tang Yun. I won't, I just need to be nice to him from the sidelines, paying attention to him. I don't need him to like me. Xiao Xiao nodded. But you have to keep it a secret for me. Of course, Kang Xiaobo nodded with a smile. He did sympathize with a girl like Xiao Xiao. When Lin Yi got to the villa, he was surprised to see 2 police cars parked in front of the villa. One was Lingshan's police car, and the other was Huaijuan's car, the one that picked him up at school last time. Lin Yi wasn't surprised that Huaijuan was here, but Lin Yi found it odd that Lingshan was here as well. Why was she here? He pressed the doorbell, and the one who opened the door was the housekeeper, Auntie Lu. She knew Lin Yi and quickly invited Lin Yi in. She helped him get his slippers. Professor Guan is in the study and there are 2 guests. One of them is Mr. Yang, whom you know. I got it. I'll go find them myself. I know the other one too. Lin Yi smiled. All right. Auntie Lu didn't say anything else after hearing that Lin Yi knew them. She went back to her work. Lin Yi knocked on the door and Xuemin's voice came from inside. Is this Yi? You're here already? It's me. Lin Yi opened the door and nodded with a smile. He was startled by a figure walking up to him. He wanted to dodge, but when he saw who it was, Lin Yi could only smile bitterly. Huaijuan gave Lin Yi a bear hug as he laughed. How's my body now? Lin Yi rolled his eyes. You won't die for now, but you'll have to wait if you want to get your strength back. I can get my strength back. Huaijuan blinked at Lin Yi's words, but it quickly turned into joy. Ew. Lin Yi, are you saying that I can get my strength back? When have I ever said that? Lin Yi shrugged. Lingshan, however, curled her lips in disdain before Huaijuan could say anything. It happens all the time. Miss Braindead, no one will think you're a mute if you don't talk. Lin Yi wasn't happy with Lingshan's interruption. He glared at her. Stop begging me next time. Just think of the things I promised you before as nothing but empty promises. Young bro, look, he's bullying me. Lingshan said pitifully as she looked at Huaijuan. Chapter 446. Chapter 446. The other side of Lingshan. Lin Yi almost fell on his butt. He was shocked by Lingshan's sudden change in gender. Ha, Song, you should find a man who can control you or you'll be too wild. Huaijuan said with a smile. Ah, young bro. What are you talking about? What man? Lingshan's eyes were wide open, her face red as she glared at Huaijuan. Girls have to get married. Huaijuan, however, didn't mind at all. Plus, I need to ask Lin Yi for help too. Ask him too? Lingshan had always been suspicious of Lin Yi's identity. Even if he was a very strong bodyguard, there was no reason for Huaijuan to praise Lin Yi like this. After all, Huaijuan didn't admire people that easily, and yet he was lowering himself in front of Lin Yi. It was something that Lingshan couldn't understand. Huaijuan had retired from that mysterious organization, and while he was injured and not as strong as he used to be, he'd still had his glory days and he was brave and smart. There was no way he'd praise someone so easily. But as for Lin, Lingshan really couldn't figure out what sort of connection the two had. The most suspicious thing was that Huaijuan had almost lost his composure the first time he met Lin Yi. Huaijuan nodded seriously. I'm begging him to treat me now. Huaijuan wanted to play matchmaker for Lin Yi and Lingshan. The Song family wasn't weak, but they didn't interfere with Lingshan's marriage too much, especially since the Song family came from an ancient martial arts house. They worshipped strength, and so Elder Song was very supportive of Lingshan's decision to find a man who could beat her. Lin Yi, on the other hand, fit the bill perfectly. This alone was enough for Lin Yi to give it a try. But what troubled Huaijuan was Ning. He knew that Lin Yi wouldn't be accepted by her family, but he couldn't help but help her again and again. What kind of mentality was this? He had buried the feelings he had for Xiao Ning in the depths of his heart and turned it into the protection of her happiness. Lingshan didn't know what to say. She'd thought that Huaijuan would be able to give her some courage today, but it seemed that she'd miscalculated. Huaijuan couldn't order Lin Yi around. You doubted me before, so we're off the deal. Lin Yi said as he sat down on the sofa beside Lingshan. Lingshan almost vomited blood from regret after hearing Lin Yi's words. She wouldn't have said that if she'd known this would happen. She'd thought that Huaijuan would back her up, only to realize that she'd made a huge mistake. Lingshan gritted her teeth as she looked at that, I don't need your help, so don't bother me look on Lin Yi's face, but there was nothing she could do. She wanted to ease up her relationship with Lin Yi, so she kicked Lin Yi. Why were you so stingy? It's not a matter of being stingy, it's a matter of principle. I won't help you. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was quite relaxed. He didn't want to get involved in Lingshan's business anymore. He wouldn't have bothered if it weren't for Huaijuan. Now that the opportunity presented itself, Lin Yi pushed it away cleanly. Lingshan glared at him, but there was nothing she could do. After some hesitation, she pulled on the corner of Lin Yi's shirt and whispered into his ear. Miss Braindead was wrong, all right? Just forgive her this once. Lingshan's body was trembling as she spoke. Since when had she ever lowered herself to someone like this? But in front of Lin Yi, she had no choice but to lower herself. Why was she so unlucky? He had her in his palm and she didn't even have a chance to turn things around. All right, I'll forgive you this once then. Lin Yi was moved by Lingshan. He didn't think that this girl would be able to move Lin Yi's heart when she acted like a spoiled child. All beautiful girls were cute, the key was whether or not they knew how to show their cute side. Lin Yi came to a conclusion. It seemed that he was being kind after all. This wasn't a good sign. What if a female assassin acted like a spoiled child in the future? Would he let her go? Lingshan's voice was soft and Guan Xuemin couldn't hear it, but Huaijuan, who was sitting beside her, heard it loud and clear. Huaijuan was strong and while he was injured and dropped a level he was still a golden class early phase at his peak. His hearing was naturally better than a normal person's, and he almost fainted when he heard what Lingshan said to Lin Yi. Was this still the Lingshan he knew? Lingshan would show her little girl side in front of him, but that was only because she saw him as a big brother, an elder. There was no other meaning behind it. But as for Lin Yi wasn't even as old as her, was he? Could it be that Song had fallen for him this time? Huaijuan was suspicious, but he could only pretend that he didn't hear it. This was a matter of a girl's face. She might be able to say that in front of Lin Yi, but if other people heard it, she'd probably kill herself. Lingshan glared at Lin Yi hatefully, but she'd gotten an answer she was satisfied with. She turned her head away and ignored him. Xuemin didn't know what was going on, but his instincts told him that Lin Yi and Lingshan's relationship wasn't normal. He sighed inwardly. He'd seen his granddaughter's feelings for him, and if it were any other boy, he'd have the confidence to make it happen. But this was Lin Yi, and he didn't have any confidence at all. First of all, Lin Yi's medical skills were better than his, and second, Lin Yi should be different in other areas other than his medical skills. He was very outstanding. This was something he could tell from the conversation between Lingshan and Lin Yi. You wait a bit. Yang and Song have something to talk to me about and they've just arrived. We'll talk about other things after they're done. Xuemin said to Lin Yi. He'd become closer to Lin Yi and he'd already considered Lin Yi as half a family member. He didn't need to be too polite. Yeah, it's fine. I'll sit here for a bit. Lin Yi said before looking at Huaijuan. Should I leave for a bit? With that, Lin Yi was about to stand up. Lingshan wanted to drag Lin Yi back with her claws. She'd wanted Lin Yi's help with this, so why did he have to leave? It's fine. You can listen in as well, you'll be able to help if you find any clues. Huaijuan said with a wave of his hand. Chapter 447. Chapter 447 Rolling Ines expected. Lin Yi nodded and sat back down on the sofa. Then let's hear it. Huaijuan didn't waste any time, getting straight to the point. Grandpa Guan, I've brought Song here because I want to use your connections to get some information. Yang, don't be so courteous, just say it. Xuemin waved his hand, knowing that Huaijuan had to have something important to discuss with him. Just come over if you need anything next time, Song. Thank you, Professor Guan. Lingshan said quickly. It's like this, Grandpa Guan, there's been an illegal organ trafficking organization recently, taking beggars, homeless people, and even disabled people in the city and cutting out their kidneys or corneas. It's gotten to a point where they don't care about anything. Huaijuan said. So I'd like you to help me find out where all the big hospitals get their corneas transplanted, hoping to find some clues. That's easy, but I can only ask around. Those who've already undergone surgery, even if the organ comes from an illegal source, I can't ask them to cut it out again. Xuemin said. Naturally, that's a little inhumane, but those involved in the illegal trade still have to be punished. Huaijuan said. Please help me, Grandpa Guan. I'll give Xiang a call. He's a shareholder of many hospitals and he's more informed than I am. Xuemin nodded. The Xiang that Xuemin was talking about was Xuemin's youngest son, Guan Xiaoxiang, who was also Guan Xian's father. He held shares in many hospitals, and together with Guan Xian's mother, he owned a private hospital in Songjiang. He was one of the most famous doctors in the province. Haha, with Uncle Xiang and Aunt Lan's help, we should be able to get some information. Huaijuan nodded. The Aunt Lan he was talking about was Guan Xiaoxiang's wife, Guan Xian's mother. Huaijuan had brought Lingshan here mainly to ask for Xuemin's help, and now that they were done, Xuemin had agreed without hesitation. There was no need for them to stay any longer. Xuemin obviously had other things to discuss with Lin Yi too, and so Huaijuan got up to leave. We'll be going then, Grandpa Guan. We're a little busy here at the bureau, I'll come see you another day. Go ahead. Come back for dinner another day. Guan Shuimin nodded. Wait. Lin Yi stopped Huaijuan. I've prepared the medicine for your second course of treatment, but I didn't bring it today. Come to my school tomorrow? All right, but I've been transferred to a nearby city to help investigate a big case. I'll be pretty busy, so send Song over if I don't have the time. Huaijuan nodded. I won't say too many thank yous, it's all said. You're busy? Aren't you afraid of dying of exhaustion? Lin Yi shrugged. I didn't see you so busy before I treated you. Haha, the more capable you are, the more things you can do. I'm pretty much fine now, aren't I? Huaijuan said, a little embarrassed. Plus, I'm creating opportunities for you and Song, aren't I? Wah. Lin Yi's eyes went wide and so did Lingshan. Lin Yi was a little speechless. Why was Huaijuan always trying to get him and Lingshan together? Lingshan, on the other hand, was surprised that Yang Bro would act so frivolously in front of Lin Yi. He must have been led astray by the kid, that had to be it. She'd make sure to teach Lin Yi a lesson the day she could turn things around. But it didn't seem like she could turn things around just yet. She still had to work hard. After sending Huaijuan and Lingshan off, Lin Yi returned to Guan Shuimin's study. Guan Shuimin was on the phone when Lin Yi came in. I called Mr. Lai, he'll be here soon. Mr. Lai? Fatty Lai, right? Lin Yi froze for a moment before reacting. Ah, that's him. Guan Shuimin naturally couldn't call Lai Chang'e Fatty Lai. The two hadn't spoken much when voices came from outside the study, and a ball-like person rolled into the study. Fatty Lai had been here before, so Aunt Lu recognized him. He was let in as soon as he arrived. But Fatty Lai heard from Guan Shuimin that Lin Yi was here as well, so he panicked a little. He really wanted to see Lin Yi. He hadn't seen him since the birthday banquet, so he tripped at the door and rolled into the study. Lin Yi jumped at Fatty Lai. What kind of martial arts are you practicing? Even if you wanted to come in quickly, you didn't have to come in like this, did you? Haha. It's a mistake, I tripped and fell. Fatty Lai was a little embarrassed. Miracle Dr. Lin, I finally get to see you. I miss you so much. Sob, I thought you didn't want me anymore, that I'd never see you again. You don't know how excited I was when Professor Guan called me. I wasn't even as excited as I was when I got married. Alright. Just stay away from me, I'm a little scared. I don't doubt your sexual orientation, but I'm still wary of you, Lin Yi said after getting a meter away from Fatty Lai. It's okay, I'm happy to see you, Miracle Dr. Lin. Fatty Lai didn't mind that Lin Yi looked down on him at all. He took out a document from his backpack. Miracle Dr. Lin, please have a look. The building's ownership has been transferred to Miss Guan Xian's name. As soon as Miss Guan Xian signs it, the contract will come into effect. Isn't your new company in the building? What are you going to do if it's all transferred? Lin Yi asked curiously. I'm a tenant now and I'll pay the rent on time. Fatty Lai said. Miracle Dr. Lin, you're not kicking me out, are you? Lin Yi thought that Fatty Lai was a little troublesome, but he didn't have a reason to kick him out. He'd given his building to you and it wasn't right to kick him out. I won't just stay here. Don't worry about the rent. Lin Yi waved his hand. Haha, I'll stay here then. Fatty Lai had made up his mind. He was going to stick to Lin Yi. He could see that being close to Lin Yi would bring him a lot of benefits in the future. Lin Yi wasn't familiar with him before and he didn't really like him, but it didn't matter. They'd get to know each other after a while. Wasn't everything good now? At least Lin Yi was willing to see him, and that was a good start. Chapter 448. Have a bad attitude. Fatty Lai was basically giving this skyscraper to Lin Yi for free. Lin Yi felt that he should return something to Fatty Lai, so he decided to ask about his father's condition. Fatty Lai froze when he heard Lin Yi's question. He couldn't believe his ears, but he was overjoyed when he confirmed that there was nothing wrong with his hearing. Fatty Lai burst into tears, his eyes brimming with hot tears. He felt that all his hard work had finally paid off. Lin Yi didn't want to see him before, didn't want to talk to him, but now he took the initiative to ask about his father's illness. This made Fatty Lai feel flattered. Sob. Miracle Dr. Lin, I knew you were a good person, you would care about my father. Fatty Lai was about to kneel down in front of Lin Yi. I thank you on behalf of my father. Alright, stop. Stop right now. Lin Yi was scared out of his wits by Fatty Lai's actions. Don't be like that. If you do that again, I won't ask next time. I shouldn't have said so much. Don't. I won't cry, sob. I'm just moved, I'm crying tears of joy. Fatty Lai quickly stood up and wiped his tears. Fatty Lai lived up to his nickname as a crybaby. His tears came and went quickly and he was all smiles again. As long as you don't cry, you can call me normally next time? Linny was a little speechless. He really admired this guy. In order to make him cry a few times less, Linny gave him phone privileges. Really? That's great, Miracle Dr. Lin. Fatty Lai was so excited that he was about to cry again, but when he remembered what Linny said just now, he stopped crying. Now let's talk about your father's condition. He has uremia, right? Linny waved his hand to stop Fatty Lai. Even if the guy didn't cry, he'd still be dawdling. Yes, uremia. After taking half of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, there's a clear effect. He's already awake and he's in much better spirits. All his vitals are starting to improve, but the doctor said that he's still not completely recovered. Although the treatment can be maintained, I don't know if it'll worsen. Fatty Lai said worriedly. Have you had a kidney transplant before? Linny nodded and asked. No. He's too old. I'm afraid he won't be able to get off the operating table. The doctor doesn't recommend surgery either, Fatty Lai said honestly. That's easy. Linny said, well, I'll write down some traditional Chinese medicine. You go out and buy it for me. I'll make it and let your father drink it for a week. After a week, he'll come here to change the dressing. Ah, all right. Thank you, Miracle Dr. Lin. Fatty Lai was beyond excited. He felt like he'd finally bet on the right treasure. It seemed like Miracle Dr. Lin was a kind person. After all his coaxing and pestering, Miracle Dr. Lin was finally willing to help. Lin Yi didn't completely trust Fatty Lai yet, so he didn't ask him to buy all the important ingredients for the first time. He only wrote down the names of the herbs needed for the first course of treatment. The dosage wasn't precise either, around 5 ounces of each herb. He even wrote down the names of a few useless ones. Fatty Lai carefully took the prescription from Lin Yi, afraid that he'd lose it. He put it in his pocket and rushed out to buy the herbs. After sending Fatty Lai away, Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. He turned to Xuemin. Grandpa Guan, are the procedures for the pharmaceutical company and the approval of the herbs done? Yeah, these are all small things. I don't need to do anything. I've asked Xiang to do it. They'll be here soon. Xuemin nodded. As they were talking, there was a knock on the door and then the door was pushed open. Dad, I've brought the ingredients you wanted. A middle-aged man walked in. His face looked like Xuemin's. He must be Xuemin's son, Guan Xiaoxiang. Just leave it here. All right, let me introduce you. This is the Lin Yi I mentioned to you, Mr. Lin. Xuemin introduced Lin Yi to Xiaoxiang. Hello, Uncle Guan. Lin Yi quickly got up to greet him. After all, Xiaoxiang was his elder and Lin Yi didn't dare to be careless. However, Xiaoxiang's attitude towards Lin Yi was very calm. He nodded and said indifferently, Hello, Mr. Lin. If Lin Yi called Xiaoxiang uncle, then he shouldn't have called Lin Yi Mr. Lin. Even if he was being polite, he shouldn't have been so cold. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He didn't know how he had offended Xiaoxiang. He felt awkward and didn't know what to say. Xuemin tried to smooth things over. Xiaoxiang, are you busy at the company? Not bad. Xiaoxiang said indifferently, Dad, why did you suddenly think of starting a company? I thought you didn't like to use your own name to do things? Don't get confused when you're old. Be careful that your reputation will be ruined. Xiaoxiang, what nonsense are you talking about? Xuemin's face suddenly became gloomy. He glared at his son. Are you okay? If not, you can leave. I'm very busy at the company. I came back to deliver the ingredients to you. Of course I have to hurry back. Xiaoxiang said indifferently, I'm just reminding you. Don't be fooled. After saying that, Xiaoxiang looked at Lin Yi, then turned around and left the room. He didn't say anything else and quickly left the villa. The sound of the door closing could be heard from outside. This kid. Xuemin was so angry that he couldn't breathe. He smiled bitterly and shook his head. He said to Lin Yi, don't mind him. Uncle Guan is doing this for your own good. He's afraid that I'm a scammer. Lin Yi smiled, showing that he understood. Actually, what Xiaoxiang said was not wrong. Although it was a bit disrespectful, he was standing on the side of a family and reminding Xuemin not to be fooled. It was just that the way he expressed it was a bit too direct. He could have said it after Lin Yi left, but Lin Yi didn't care about that. It's not against you. Xuemin shook his head. This kid still hates me. He's still brooding about what happened in the past. What happened in the past? Lin Yi was a bit surprised. That eldest son of mine I've told you before. He's a lazy, jobless man. He relied on my reputation to rope in some pharmacists and started a medical business. He's doing quite well, Xuemin said. So, when my youngest son was about to graduate from university, He teamed up with a classmate he was close to and wanted to set up a clinic under my name. I rejected him harshly. So, he's still brooding about me using my name to set up a medical company with you. Chapter 449. The company's planning, probably. He's already an adult, but he's still acting like a child. Guan Shuimin smiled. Actually, he knows that I'm not an idiot. That's why he helped me with the paperwork so quickly. What he said just now wasn't directed at you, but at me, expressing his dissatisfaction. You've only suffered because of me. Anyone else would have done the same. I see. Lin Yi nodded in realization. But Uncle Guan seems to be doing pretty well now? No longer relying on your family? Since then he hasn't relied on me for anything. Guan Shuimin shook his head and said with a bitter smile. However, Xiaoxiang is lucky he found an even more powerful backer, and now he's doing very well. When he's free he wants to prove to me that he can succeed without relying on me. I didn't think Uncle Guan had this side to him. Lin Yi smiled. He probably knows that you were doing it for his own good, but the knot in his heart hasn't been untied yet. Of course he knows, but he's still brooding about it. Guan Shuimin said. Alright, forget about him. It's been so many years I've gotten used to it. He might look like he doesn't like it, but he's still good to me. I don't even know who my parents are. Lin Yi was a little saddened. He'd only understood the meaning of his parents after he grew up, but he still brooded over the fact that they'd abandoned him. Fortunately, he had two masters who loved him dearly, and that replaced the love he'd had when he was young. Guan Shuimin paused. He'd had many guesses about Lin Yi's parentage, even thinking that Lin Yi was the descendant of the benefactor who'd taught him all those years ago. It was one of the reasons he trusted Lin Yi unconditionally, but he'd never dared to ask. On one hand, Lin Yi didn't want to talk about his parentage, and on the other, he was afraid that Lin Yi would keep it a secret. It'd only make things awkward if he didn't tell him. You don't know who your parents are? Guan Shuimin looked at Lin Yi in shock. Haha, I only have two masters, but they're both nice to me, treating me like their own son. They're a bit strict, but I know they're doing it for my own good. Lin Yi didn't hide his identity on purpose. There wasn't much to hide. It's good that you have this mentality. But as long as someone treats you well, regardless of whether they are your biological parents or not, you will treat them as family, right? Guan Shuimin smiled. Master. In other words, a master is like a father. Yes, that's right. Therefore, I didn't lack love in my childhood. My mentality is also very normal. Lin Yi nodded seriously. Your medical skills were taught to you by your master? Guan Shuimin hesitated for a moment before asking. Yeah, one of them taught me martial arts, another taught me medicine, and a bad master taught me how to steal and gamble. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I see. Guan Shuimin felt a bit of a headache at the complicated relationship between Lin Yi's masters. If your medical skills are already this good, then your master... Haha, I can't say that, Grandpa Guan. Both my old man and my kung fu master are special people. I'll have to keep it a secret without their permission. Lin Yi didn't want to hide anything from Guan Shuimin, but Lin Yi couldn't say anything without his master's permission. Even people close to him like Huaijuan didn't know about this. It's fine, I'm just asking. Guan Shuimin was a bit disappointed, but he didn't blame Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi was doing the right thing. Let's talk about the company. The medicines that are ready for the market right now are pain relievers and injury medicine. I can't make any decisions on the other types without the formulas. Haha, there are some formulas for the other types, but which ones are more popular? Lin Yi didn't know much about business. Well, as long as it's effective, it'll sell well. Guan Shuimin said. Common cold medicine, for example. If you can make a traditional medicine with minimal side effects, it'll sell well too. But these are all established pharmaceutical companies with established formulas and brands. It's pointless for us to go in and fight for the market. It's true that the common cold medicine's formulas are already set. Even if I were to change it, it wouldn't be much of an improvement. The best way would be to supplement it with acupuncture or cupping, but that's impossible unless it's a clinic. You can't just get acupuncture and cupping for free, can you? Lin Yi nodded with a smile. I'm not an expert when it comes to business actually. I'm just giving my personal opinion. Guan Shuimin said. You should hire a management expert to run the company. That's true. It's not that easy to find a professional manager. Lin Yi knew that Guan Shuimin was speaking the truth. First of all, is the person trustworthy, and second, is he really capable? After all, the success of a pharmaceutical company depends on the professional manager's ability. I think you should ask Mr. Lai about that. He's been in the business world for a long time, and he should have some experience. It shouldn't be too hard to ask him to find a professional manager, Guan Shuamin said. At least it'll be easier than looking for one ourselves. That's true. Linny nodded. Fatty Lai left for about half an hour before rushing back with a few bags of herbs in his hands. He barged into Guan Shuamin's study. Miracle Dr. Lin, I bought them all. With that, Fatty Lai placed the bags on the coffee table in front of Lin Yi. Lin Yi looked at the huge pile of bags in front of him, confused. Why was there so much? Even if he bought a kilo of each herb, there wouldn't be this many. Lin Yi opened a bag and checked the herbs inside. They were all packed according to his prescription. He couldn't help but feel strange. Isn't this enough? What's in the other bags? The other bags are the same, but I bought them at different points. Fatty Lai said, panting. There are a lot of scammers these days. I was afraid that I'd buy fake medicine in one pharmacy, so I thought about buying from a few more. I thought that there should be some real ones, right? Chapter 450. Volunteering himself, Lin Yi looked through the other bags of herbs. Other than a few that have been stored for a little too long, they're all real. That's good. Fatty Lai was afraid that all the herbs he bought were fake, so it was fine as long as there were real ones. Then Miracle Dr. Lin, please pick the good ones and use them. Alright, Grandpa Guan, do you have a furnace for decocting herbs? Lin Yi asked. Yes, I'll get Aunt Lu to bring it over. Shuamin was a traditional Chinese medicine expert, so his house naturally didn't lack equipment for decocting herbs. Do I need to leave for a moment? Fatty Lai was a sensible man. He was afraid that Lin Yi would be careful when he decocted the herbs, so he didn't want to attract unwanted attention. No need, just sit here. I have some things to ask you about the company's opening. Lin Yi waved his hand, gesturing for Fatty Lai to sit. Ask me? Fatty Lai was flattered, rubbing his chubby hands together. I wouldn't dare to ask for advice, but I can only make decisions. Don't worry, I'll tell you everything I know. Miracle Dr. Lin, you're asking me to speak because you think highly of me. Aunt Lu quickly brought the decocting equipment over, and Lin Yi nimbly picked out some fresh herbs and threw them into the frying pan. It looked like a random grab, but the amount was actually very precise. Fatty Lai was secretly amazed but didn't think much of it. Lin Yi's medical skills weren't just for show, and this was nothing compared to his other skills. Even Shuamin was surprised by Lin Yi's speed. It seemed like Lin Yi didn't even look at the equipment before he finished the process. Fatty Lai, my medicine company has 2 initial products ready for the market. One is a painkiller with no side effects, and the other is an injury medicine. How do you think we should advertise it? Lin Yi asked. Miracle Dr. Lin, is this injury medicine similar to Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine? Fatty Lai showed a shrewd face when it came to business, no longer the crybaby and soft-hearted man he was before. Almost. I haven't seen Jinshuang medicine before, but my injury medicine can also help the wound heal quickly without leaving any scars. Lin Yi nodded and said. That should be about it. Fatty Lai pondered for a while and said, my suggestion is to use this injury medicine first and use it to get famous. What do you mean? Lin Yi looked at Fatty Lai. Both Lin Yi and Shuamin wanted to release both medicines together, but Fatty Lai wanted to release them in batches. We will only introduce one medicine that has similar effects to the most amazing Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine in the market. This way everyone will compare us. Fatty Lai said, they will have some doubts about our product in the beginning, but once they realize that the effects are the same as Dr. Kang's medicine, they will start to lean towards us. Of course, there are 2 prerequisites. One is that our product's price must be lower than theirs, and the other is that we must have sufficient supply. According to what I know, there are a few ingredients in Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine that are produced in low quantities, and they give priority to special organizations and the military. That's why they don't sell a lot in the civilian market. So if they can't buy their product, the consumers will choose us. Of course, if our product is better than theirs, then we don't have to lower the price. Or if we can't increase our production, then no matter what, the market will still be out of stock. There's no point in fighting with them for the market. Fatty Lai finished in one breath and wiped the sweat off his forehead. Lin Yi and Shuamin were stunned. They didn't expect Fatty Lai to be so skillful. Not only was he a crybaby, but he was also a genius. Then the sales of the painkillers. Lin Yi didn't have much experience in the business world, so he continued to ask humbly. As long as our injury medicine is a hit, the painkillers won't be a problem. Fatty Lai said. Once our first product hits the market and is accepted by the consumers, there's basically no need to advertise our second product. Of course, we can also hold a live press conference. I see. Lin Yi nodded, enlightened. Then should we still hold the auction I've been planning? I'm planning to auction off a few of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but... Lin Yi hesitated. He wasn't familiar with Fatty Lie, so he couldn't make it sound too easy to concoct the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. If he said it was like candy, then he'd have to scam an entire skyscraper off for half a pill. That'd be a huge loss. Although he was the one who offered it, Lin Yi didn't want Fatty Lie to scold him behind his back. He continued. But it's not easy to concoct the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Many of the ingredients are almost extinct, so there's a limited number of them. We can't mass-produce them right now. If we auction this, won't it seem like it has nothing to do with the medicine company's products? Of course not. It's a gimmick. Fatty Lie waved his hands. This pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was really good stuff. It was wise of him to dig half a pill out of a pile of dog shit. Lin Yi probably didn't have many of these pills left. This was a priceless treasure. I thought it was a gimmick too, but from what you're saying, it doesn't seem like a gimmick anymore? Lin Yi asked. How is it meaningless? Fatty Lie waved his hand. We can announce this pill of life extension and toxin cleansing to the public. It's a limited edition ingredient because the success rate is low and the ingredients are rare. Well, we can just say that it's a limited edition ingredient given to us by the expert who provided us the recipe. The rarer something is, the greater its value. When the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing achieves good results, the price of our injury medicine will naturally rise as well. Lin Yi nodded, thinking that Fatty Lie's idea wasn't bad. Do you know where I can hire a professional manager to manage the company? Well? Fatty Lie's eyes flashed with excitement and anticipation when he heard Lin Yi's words. His face flushed a little. What do you think of me? You. Lin Yi paused for a moment before understanding what Fatty Lie meant. You're saying you want to be a professional manager? Yeah, what do you think of me? I've been in the business world for more than 10 years. I'm quite experienced. Fatty Lie said, thumping his chest. But your trading company and real estate company. Lin Yi looked at Fatty Lie, confused. Chapter 451. Another follower. Lin Yi didn't know what was wrong with Fatty Lie. Why was he abandoning his existing company and coming to a new one to be a manager? You don't want your family's business anymore? Lin Yi couldn't figure out Fatty Lie's intentions. Miracle Dr. Lin, I gave my family's business to my brother. I don't want it anymore. I don't care about it. I don't want to fight and scheme against him all the time. Fatty Lie chuckled. Besides, I think that following you will have a better future than running those family businesses. Miracle Dr. Lin, I can foresee that your company will be even more powerful than that Dr. Kang's medical group. I'll be the manager of the group and your spokesperson, Miracle Dr. Lin. Won't I be the best? When my brother finds out about the importance of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, he'll be begging me on his knees. Begging? Is that rare? Don't you always kneel and cry? Lin Yi couldn't help but admire Fatty Lie's courage. He'd abandoned his family's business to follow him. That's different. You're a miracle doctor. I wouldn't kneel and cry to anyone else, Fatty Lie said, a little embarrassed. Lin Yi thought that this guy was a natural crybaby. He didn't think that it was just directed at him. This gave Lin Yi quite a headache. You have a good idea, but this medical group of mine is just a spur-of-the-moment thing. I don't know if it can continue or if there will be any new products. Lin Yi had to get the ugly part out of the way first. Who knew what he was going to do in the future? Even his old man didn't have a clear answer. It's fine, Miracle Dr. Lin. Why don't you take me in as your follower? Fatty Lie was a smart man. He'd seen through the facts a long time ago. Lin Yi wasn't an ordinary person, and there was no harm in following him. Fatty Lie had grown up in a rich family, so he didn't care much about money anymore. What he pursued was fame and status, and Lin Yi could help him achieve this dream. Being someone else's lackey wasn't a fun thing to do, but it depended on who it was. Fatty Lie was more than willing to be Lin Yi's lackey. How awesome was Lin Yi? People with medical skills like Lin Yi's were people that all the big families and forces would fight to curry favor with. Which one of them hadn't experienced illness and death? However, if Lin Yi could delay their deaths, why wouldn't they rush to him like a flock of ducks? At that time, even if he was just a follower, he would be Lin Yi's spokesperson outside. Lin Yi was very busy every day. How could he have time to entertain outsiders? Once this little brother of his appeared, Fatty Lie was elated just thinking about it. What was an electronics industrial park to him? His brother was really short-sighted. Look at himself, how smart was his decision. People had to be thick-skinned and crybaby. Look at himself? He was thick-skinned and a crybaby. Didn't he gain Lin Yi's favor just like that? You want to be a lackey? Linny looked at Fatty Lai oddly. I don't need lackeys. Not at all. Boss Linny, listen to me. Fatty Lai began to analyze and he called Linny Boss Linny smoothly. Linny was helpless. Boss, what kind of status do you have? When the medical corporation is established, there will be big families coming to ask for medicine. Everyone wants to see you, boss. Can you see them all? Boss is already very busy every day, and he still has to chase girls and enjoy life. How can he have time to deal with them? That's when you need a lackey to help you deal with these things. And I'm just the right person. Linny thought about it. Fatty Lai's words made sense, so he said, but I already have a follower. You're talking about Kong Xiaobo? Think about it, that's not enough. Fatty Lai shook his head. How can a lackey do that? Kong Xiaobo will be by your side all day, accompanying you to school and enjoying life. He can't handle company business every day, can he? He can just be the vice chairman, and I'll be the little brother who helps you take care of the company's affairs. Linny nodded, but what Linny didn't mention was that he had a lackey in his old home called Air Gooden. But thinking about Gooden's IQ, Linny shook his head. This kid could only be a fighter and a punching bag. He was all brawn and no brains. And he'll give Gooden a call one day and see what he's up to. It's been a while since he went back and he kind of missed him. Seeing that Linny was a little tempted, Fatty Lai quickly added fuel to the fire. Plus, what kind of person are you, boss? You can't just have a lackey by your side, right? Look at all the big shots who don't have a lot of lackeys around them. Each lackey has their own role: bodyguards, personal secretaries, housekeepers, nannies and mistresses. All right. Stop wasting time. I'll reluctantly accept you as a temporary lackey. Once you pass the inspection, you'll be promoted to an official one. Linny was getting impatient from Fatty Lai's words. Fatty Lai's words made sense, and so Linny agreed. But he was still someone else's lackey, and now Fatty Lai was his lackey. What would it be like when he went out with the miss in the future? Even a follower has a follower. I'm afraid I've already become the most awesome follower in the history of the game. Haha, then I'll be Miracle Dr. Lin's lackey from now on. Fatty Lai was overjoyed, automatically ignoring the word temporary. Don't worry, I'll take care of this medicine company. Linny was a little speechless. This Fatty Lai was even more enthusiastic than he was. It seemed that having a lackey like this would save him a lot of trouble in the future. But Linny didn't fully trust Fatty Lai yet. He didn't know what kind of person this guy was, and there were some things he couldn't trust him with. He'd have to observe him for a while before deciding. He gave the concoction to Fatty Lai and sent him away. Linny sat back on the sofa in Xuemin's study. Grandpa Guan, what do you think of this? You mean Mr. Lai? Xuemin asked. And why doesn't this guy seem very reliable? Linny felt that Fatty Lai's way of talking and doing things didn't seem like a business elite, but more like an idiot. If it weren't for Fatty Lai's suggestions on how to run the company, Linny would have thought that the kid was just a playboy. Chapter 452. Chapter 452, Guan Xuemin's sense of danger. Oh? Linny paused at Xuemin's words. He hadn't expected Fatty Lai to be this capable. He'd thought the guy was just a theoretical weakling. So you're saying that Fatty Lai really wants to help? Haha, he's not an idiot. He knows that he'll have a brighter future if he follows someone. Guan Xuemin chuckled. If not for that half of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing he picked out from the trash can, perhaps he wouldn't have made such a big decision. However, the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing gave him confidence and solidified his future direction. Linny nodded. If Xuemin's information was correct, then that was the only explanation. Linny was secretly impressed by Fatty Lai's foresight. He'd actually forced him to be his boss. Grandpa Guan, do you have any suggestions on how to split the shares? Now that Fatty Lai was here, Linny thought about the issue of share distribution. I'm not an expert myself, but I think that half of the shares should be in your hands. Xuemin suggested after some thought. We're all on good terms right now, but it's better to be safe than sorry. If you control half of the shares, you'll have the right to speak in the future. This is very important. All right. Lin Yi wasn't worried that someone would betray him in the future, but Pengzhan Industries was a good example. Lin Yi didn't want to go through the trouble of dealing with these things, so he agreed with Xuemin's suggestion. How about this? You and Kong Xiaobo will each take 15% of the company. Fatty Lai will need to be tested, but if he's sincere in following me, I'll give him 15%. As for the remaining 55%, I'll put it under Guan Xian's name. Oh. Xuemin paused. He didn't know what Lin Yi was trying to do. What was he trying to achieve by putting all the shares under his granddaughter's name? If the two of them had already confirmed their relationship, then there was nothing wrong with what they did. However, according to his observation, the relationship between his granddaughter and Lin Yi was basically the same. His granddaughter was interested, but Lin Yi didn't seem to have that kind of intention. As a result, Lin Yi's actions were a little thought-provoking. Xuemin was already confused when Lin Yi put the building under Guan Xian's name, and he couldn't hold it in anymore. You've given me 15% of the shares and 55% to Xian. Xian also has the building under her name, so it'll only be a matter of a word for our family to take control of the medicine company. Have you thought of the consequences? Ha. Lin Yi smiled. He knew Xuemin would ask this. If Xuemin had accepted all of this without a word, Lin Yi wouldn't have said anything, but he would have looked down on Xuemin in his heart. The medical company was something that Lin Yi had casually set up, and Lin Yi didn't put much effort into it. Lin Yi had to admit that Xuemin had taken it all. It was like seeing through a person's character. To put it bluntly, the reason why Lin Yi set up this medical company was because he didn't want to live off a woman, and he wanted to earn some pocket money for himself. After Lu Tianyi sent over the 100 million, it didn't matter if Lin Yi started the company or not. Setting up the company was just a fight for Kang Xiaobo's pride, so that he wouldn't be looked down upon by Dr. Kang's family. So Lin Yi smiled, Grandpa Guan, this is all because of your reputation. I only provided 2 prescriptions, so I have nothing to say if you want to take it. Ah, you trust me too much. Although Xuemin didn't have any ulterior motives, he was touched by Lin Yi's trust. I'll give my shares to Xian as well. But if Xian tries to steal your company in the future, don't come looking for me. I won't. Lin Yi shook his head. Was Guan Xian that kind of person? Based on Lin Yi's understanding of Guan Xian, she wasn't that kind of person. After chatting with Xuemin for a while more, Lin Yi got up to leave. His bag was still at school and Lin Yi had to go back eventually. I'll be going then, Grandpa Guan. Call me if you need anything. Lin Yi said. You're not waiting for Xian to come back? I wanted you to stay for dinner, Xuemin said, a little regretful. On one hand, he was regretful that they didn't finish the academic discussion, and on the other hand he was regretful for Xian. Could Lin Yi and his granddaughter work out? As an elder, Xuemin really wanted Lin Yi to be his grandson-in-law. Lingshan's appearance as well as Huaijuan's attitude gave him a sense of danger. However, Lin Yi's attitude did comfort him a little. At least Lin Yi didn't seem to like Lingshan that much, and the fact that he was willing to give his shares to his granddaughter meant that Lin Yi trusted Xian. This way Xian would have a head start. Maybe next time. Lin Yi said as he looked at the time on his phone. I still have to go back to school. That's fine too. Next time then. Xuemin didn't force him to stay. After all, things were different now. He and Lin Yi were business partners now, and Lin Yi would be visiting his house more often in the future. Lin Yi left Xuemin's house and drove to school. The bell for the last self-study period rang just as he stepped into the classroom. Meng Yao and Yushu were already used to Lin Yi's frequent absences, and they didn't bother to ask him about it. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was a little annoyed Lin Yi was her follower, and it was work time right now. Why was the guy disappearing all the time? Lin Yi, you're back? Lin Yi had just sat down when he heard a soft voice. His scalp went numb and he almost fell to the ground. Xiao Xiao's eyes were curved into crescent moons as she looked at Lin Yi with a cute smile on her face. She took out a drink from her desk. Thirsty? I bought this for you. Are you all right? Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao in disbelief. Even if their relationship wasn't as serious as a death feud, it was at least as serious as killing her father. Lin Yi didn't understand, why would Xiao Xiao treat him like this? Was she hiding a dagger behind her smile? I'm fine. Xiao Xiao blinked, confused. What could happen to me? Why do you ask? Xiao Xiao's question made Lin Yi speechless. He couldn't just say that he pissed on her and blew up her butt with firecrackers, that there was a huge grudge between them, and that she shouldn't be so gentle to him. Chapter 453. Chapter 453, The Weird Xiao Xiao. It's nothing. It's good that you're fine. Lin Yi nodded, troubled. Why was this girl even worse than Yushu? Why did he run into these people all the time? He'd thought that the days of bullets and bullets were scary, but there were scary things in real life as well. For you it's really good. I drank a bottle earlier and thought it was pretty good, so I bought it for you. Xiao Xiao put the drink in front of Lin Yi. Thanks. Lin Yi said helplessly. What else could he say? If Xiao Xiao had just scolded him the moment she came, Lin Yi would have thought it was normal. He'd just ignore her and be done with it, but she was talking nicely to him, and he couldn't just pretend he didn't hear her, could he? Lin Yi even wondered if the one who blew up yesterday was Xiao Xiao's twin sister. The violent older sister was blown up, and today it was the gentle younger sister. Linny was actually a little thirsty. He picked up the bottle and looked at the bottle. It was unopened. He opened it and took a sip, and there was nothing wrong with it. Linny took a few sips, confused. "You're welcome." Xiao Xiao shook her head. "If you like it, I'll buy it for you every day." Pfft. Linny was drinking when he spat it out at Xiao Xiao's words, onto Kong Xiaobo's back. Kong Xiaobo was listening to the conversation between Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi, secretly envious of Lin Yi. He turned around with a bitter face. "Boss, I'm already envious of you. Why did you spit on me?" "I'm sorry." Lin Yi sweated as he looked at Xiao Xiao oddly. "Xiao Xiao, tell me the truth. What do you mean?" "Nothing?" Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi with wide eyes, as if she didn't understand what Lin Yi was talking about. "Were you the one whose butt was blown up by the firecrackers yesterday?" Lin Yi asked. "Don't say that, it's so embarrassing." Xiao Xiao's face reddened as she whispered. Lin Yi was about to faint. "Have you become stupid from the explosion? You're the dumb one, I'm the real me now." Xiao Xiao pouted. "Didn't I want you to teach me how to race? I also felt that there was something wrong with my method, so I changed it." "It's impossible to teach you how to race. It's illegal," Lin Yi said. "It's fine, you can teach me how to race and drift too," Xiao Xiao said seriously. "I don't have time." Lin Yi frowned. "It's fine, I won't learn then." Xiao Xiao smiled nonchalantly. Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao in disbelief. What the hell? What the hell happened? When he left at noon, Xiao Xiao's cold face still had that angry look on it. What happened now? The night class was physics and the teacher came in soon. Lin Yi didn't ask much, so he turned his head and started flipping through his physics book, ignoring Xiao Xiao. A smile formed on Xiao Xiao's lips, and she wanted to clench her fists and cheer. As expected, Lin Yi was amenable to coaxing but not coercion. As long as she persisted, she wouldn't have to worry about not being able to capture Lin Yi's heart, and then she'd dump him. She'd let him know the consequences of messing with her. The whole class, Xiao Xiao was fantasizing about her future plans. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was very troubled, wondering why Xiao Xiao had become like this. From his past experience, Xiao Xiao had to be planning something big. The first time she gave him a drink, she didn't have any good intentions. She wanted him to go to the washroom so she could take pictures of him. This time she probably wouldn't use the same cheap trick, so there shouldn't be anything wrong with the drink. It was just a way for Xiao Xiao to get on his good side. Pinliang was very happy right now. He'd contacted a high-class beach through one of his father's business partners, and he'd be able to reserve the entire VIP area. He'd be able to show off to Mengyao later. He'd already talked to the homeroom teacher, Ms. Liu, and was ready to announce the good news after school. The night class finally ended, and Ms. Liu walked in with Pinliang walking up to the podium, very pleased with himself. "Everyone calm down. Don't pack your bags yet. I have good news for you all." Ms. Liu was very supportive of Pinliang sponsoring the class spring outing. There wasn't much time left in the 12th grade, and the students didn't have much time to play together. The tree planting event was something that many of them enjoyed so much that they forgot to go home. Pinliang sponsoring a spring outing at this time made Ms. Liu's impression of Pinliang improve quite a bit. This guy wasn't a spoiled young master who didn't know shit. As soon as they heard the good news, the noisy class immediately quieted down. Everyone stopped what they were doing and raised their heads to look at Teacher Liu. "This weekend, our class will be organizing a spring excursion. The destination is the natural beach in Boundless City." Ms. Liu's voice had barely faded when the students started cheering. Going to the beach was much more interesting than planting trees, and the students who'd been suppressed for a long time were all excited. "This excursion is organized and sponsored by Pinliang. You don't have to pay a single cent, just buy some snacks for yourselves," Ms. Liu said. "Let's give Pinliang a round of applause to thank him for his contributions to our class." Ms. Liu was planning to give Pinliang a scolding in a class meeting. This guy was too daring, setting fireworks on a tree. Wasn't he afraid of catching fire? But she couldn't say anything about it now. Yay! Many students were excited when they heard that it was free. After all, there weren't many students who came from rich families, and most of them had limited pocket money. "Alright, I'm done here. I'll introduce Pinliang to you all when he's done with the spring excursion plan," Ms. Liu said. "You can go home now." The students who'd been hostile to Pinliang were now looking at him with much friendlier gazes. Many of them even greeted him after school. Pinliang was delighted. If he'd known that this would happen, he would have organized the excursion a long time ago. Not only would he be able to establish his reputation, but he'd also be able to please Mengyao and Yushu. Why wouldn't he do it? When Ming Yao and Yushu walked out of the classroom, Pinliang quickly ran after them. Yao Yao, Shu, are you guys satisfied with my excursion? Chapter 454. I want to eat shark. Ming Yao's face was expressionless, as if she hadn't heard Pinliang's words at all. She didn't deny Yushu's words either. Yushu had always been like this, always using his name to talk to that idiot Pinliang, but Pinliang never changed, falling for it every single time. That's great. I'll be happy as long as Yao Yao's happy. Pinliang said. Right, I've booked a Golden Dragon bus, but Shu, why don't you and Yao Yao take my car? I'm driving my dad's Mercedes and I just got my license last month. You're driving a car just last month? Yao Yao and I won't take it. What if we get killed? Yushu humphed. Plus, who doesn't have a car? Yao Yao's car is a sports car. It's as good as your Mercedes. Ugh. Pinliang had wanted to show off a little, but Yushu's words made him speechless. He regretted not boasting about his license at all. Getting a driver's license while still a student was something to be envied by normal people, but it wasn't something new to Miss Ming Yao and Yushu. Do you have a private plane? I don't need a car, but a plane is. Yushu blinked as she turned to Pinliang. Ah, a plane? Pinliang's eyes went wide, a bitter smile on his face. Do you know how much a private plane costs, Miss Ming Yao? Even if his family was rich, they couldn't afford a private plane. A Boeing 757 cost tens of millions of dollars. What kind of joke was that? It's fine if you don't have one, but Yao Yao gets carsick and can only take a plane. We won't be going, you bring the other students. Yushu said regretfully. Wah. Pinliang almost tripped and fell to the ground. Not going just like that? Then why did he spend so much effort to invite his classmates to play? Wasn't he crazy? Pinliang had organized this event for Ming Yao's sake, and if Ming Yao didn't go, what was the point? But a plane. Pinliang suddenly had an idea. Shu, what do you think about renting a plane? Even if he couldn't afford to buy a plane, he could still charter one. It was said that a small private plane didn't cost much. If he changed it to a helicopter, it would be even cheaper. Oh, that's fine too. You can charter a seaplane. I want to land on the sea. Yushu's words almost made Pinliang faint again. A seaplane? Pinliang was getting a little dizzy. Can we book it? Sure, why don't you go and ask? Yushu, on the other hand, wasn't lying. I heard there's a private seaplane service at the beach in Boundless City. I see. I'll go ask then. Pinliang smiled bitterly and nodded. Why didn't he ask earlier? Now there was trouble. However, Pinliang had no choice but to accept the fact that he had to win Ming Yao's heart. Yao Yao, what do you want to eat? I need to prepare in advance. Oh, we want to eat barbecued shark meat. It'd be best if it's freshly caught in the sea. Yushu said. Shark? Pinliang blinked. His face turned even more bitter. Freshly caught shark? Who would dare catch a shark? That was like asking for his life. Pinliang was getting more and more convinced that this trip to get on Ming Yao's good side wasn't going to be that easy. Alright, we're leaving now. We'll text you when you're ready. Yushu pulled Ming Yao and left quickly after that. Pinliang was left standing in the hallway with a bitter smile on his face. Xiaofu had been waiting for him. Liang bro, what's wrong? What else? It's not like you didn't hear what Yushu said. Renting a plane is fine as long as you can get it, but catching a shark? Isn't that a joke? Pinliang sighed. Liang bro, that's not a joke. Xiaofu waved his hand. I thought you thought renting a plane was too expensive. You know what's going on with my family? My uncle isn't a shareholder of the school anymore, but my dad's business isn't affected. He's also connected with a big boss recently, so he doesn't lack money. As long as there's a charter service, it'll be fine. Pinliang said. But catching a shark? Isn't that just suicide? Not suicide. Xiaofu smiled slyly. That's easy. When the time comes, Liang bro, we'll prepare a dead shark and put it at the bottom of the sea. I'll put on a shark fin and pretend to be a shark, and you'll pretend to come down and fight me. I'll pretend to be dead and sink to the bottom of the sea, and you can drag the dead shark to shore. That's right. Pinliang's eyes lit up at Xiaofu's idea. He gave him a thumbs up. That's a brilliant idea. This was great. Didn't Ming Yao like strong, handsome men? I'll fight a shark and show off my manliness. Ming Yao won't fall for me then. Yeah, that's why it's not hard at all. Now we need to figure out how to charter a plane. Xiaofu wasn't good at other things, but he was good at dirty tricks. That's easy. I'll talk to my dad about it when I get back. Pinliang's worries were solved and he felt much more relaxed. He hummed a little tune as he walked out of the school with Xiaofu. Ming Yao, on the other hand, looked at Yushu helplessly. Shu, can you stop messing with Pinliang? It's his fault for being an idiot. Yushu didn't care. Yao, we're graduating soon. If we don't mess with this idiot a little, we won't be able to play with him in college. Play? You only know how to play all day long. You'll get into trouble sooner or later. Mengyao glared. It's fine. With Shield Bro protecting us, I'm not scared of Pinliang anymore. Yushu said happily. What's up with Lin Yi? Why's he with Xiao Xiao again? Mengyao turned her head to see Xiao Xiao beside Lin Yi, giggling as she talked to Lin Yi. Oh, are you jealous, Yao? Do you want me to go scout and see what they're talking about? Yushu rubbed her palms together. No need. Mengyao shook her head faintly. Who cares what he's doing? Let's go home. Sure, I want to go take a look. Yushu was curious. Then I'll go back myself. You think of a way home. With that, Mengyao opened the car door and got in. Wait for me, I'm not going. Yushu quickly got in the car after seeing that Mengyao was angry, but her eyes couldn't help looking back. Chapter 455. Chapter 455. The beginning of a nightmare. Why are you following me? Lin Yi frowned as he looked at Xiao Xiao. Don't they all say that you're marked by the company you keep? Xiao Xiao said with a smile. It's fine if you don't teach me how to drive, just let me stay by your side. You'll be able to subtly influence me and I'll be more and more like you and then I'll know how to drive. Lin Yi was speechless at Xiao Xiao's reasoning. Do whatever you want then, I'm going home. With that, Lin Yi turned to the food street behind the school where he parked his car. Xiao Xiao on the other hand was still following Lin Yi leisurely. Lin Yi frowned, worried that Mrs. Tang and Tang Yun would misunderstand. Can you follow me tomorrow? Can't I go home with you? Xiao Xiao had made up her mind to follow Lin Yi, and so no matter what Lin Yi said, she kept her voice soft. You don't want your car anymore? Lin Yi was a little speechless. Xiao Xiao's attitude made it impossible for him to get angry. If she were like before, Lin Yi could just send her flying with a kick. But now he couldn't just kick this cute girl. I'll go home with you first and then take the bus back to get it. Xiao Xiao said. Xiao Xiao, can you be a little more normal? Lin Yi couldn't take it anymore. If you keep acting like this, I won't come tomorrow. Then I won't go home with you. Don't not come, I still want to be by your side every day. Xiao Xiao quickly shook her head. Then I won't go home with you, alright? I'll be going first. Lin Yi finally got rid of Xiao Xiao and he slapped his forehead in relief. Just what was wrong with this Xiao Xiao? Lin Yi didn't believe it at all. There had to be something else that people didn't know about. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that his nightmare had just begun. Who was that girl just now? Although Lin Yi was in a rush to get rid of Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun, who was helping her mother with the barbecue stall, still saw it. In actuality, Tang Yun saw Lin Yi the moment he arrived at the food street. She was hesitant to call out to him when she saw that there was a girl beside him. She pretended not to see him, but she was very nervous. Tang Yun couldn't help but ask after Xiao Xiao left. My desk mate, a new transfer student, Lin Yi said. Then why is she following you? Tang Yun felt that she was being a little narrow-minded by asking so many questions, but it was fine. Lin Yi was getting more and more outstanding, and Tang Yun was getting more and more afraid that Lin Yi would fall in love with someone else. I'm not familiar with the road. I don't know where I parked the car. I can't find it, Lin Yi said casually. I see. She drives to school too? Then her family must be pretty rich, right? Tang Yun was startled. If Xiao Xiao really wanted to compete with her, even she wouldn't be able to win. Who knows, but she saw me driving once and thought that I was good, so she wanted to learn from me. I don't have time to talk to her, Lin Yi said. Oh, I see. Tang Yun started to get nervous again after hearing Lin Yi's words. So Xiao Xiao was here for Lin Yi? This gave Tang Yun a faint sense of danger. Let's not talk about her. How's Auntie's business? Lin Yi didn't want to talk about Xiao Xiao in front of Tang Yun. It's not bad. My income is 3 to 4 times what I used to be. That's around 10,000 a month. Tang Yun was very happy. This was the first time the family was making so much money. And then let's save some money and rent a storefront. We can open a barbecue shop. That way we won't have to work so hard anymore. Lin Yi nodded. He could take out more money for Tang Yun's family to open a barbecue shop, but with Tang Yun's personality she wouldn't accept it. That's what I was thinking too. I don't want Mom to be exposed to the sun and the wind, but Mom said, it's too risky. She doesn't want to lose the money. Tang Yun blushed. She said that she wants to save the money for my dowry? Dowry? Lin Yi blinked and smiled weirdly. Then I'll talk to Auntie about it. I don't need that little dowry, so she doesn't need to save it. You. Tang Yun blinked as well but reacted quickly. Her face reddened even more as she punched at Lin Yi. What are you talking about? I didn't say I wanted to marry you. Ah. Lin Yi held Tang Yun's hand. Auntie already agreed. After helping Tang Yun and Mrs. Tang for a while, the number of students gradually decreased. Lin Yi helped Mrs. Tang send the barbecue cart to the nearby warehouse, and then drove Mrs. Tang and Tang Yun to the slums. I heard that the slums are going to be relocated. Do you think we should ask for compensation or move back? Mrs. Tang couldn't make up her mind these days. Compensation was said to be a few $100,000, but they could also move back to a building similar to their current size. It was a good deal. It's okay if you want to move back. I don't know much about this. I'll ask someone for you another day. Lin Yi thought of Fatty Lai. Wasn't this guy in real estate? He would understand if he asked. However, with Fatty Lai's style, if he knew that Tang Yun was his girlfriend, he would probably give them a villa the next day. However, from Lin Yi's point of view, Tang Yun wouldn't accept it. That's fine, but it's just a rumor. It's hard to say if they'll even move. Mrs. Tang sighed. The last few times we wanted to move, it was because we didn't reach an agreement on the compensation. It's fine. If you need anything, just let me know. I have a friend in real estate, I'm sure he'll be able to help. Lin Yi said. After sending Tang Yun and Mrs. Tang to the slums, Lin Yi didn't get out of the car and drove straight back to Mingyao's villa. Mingyao didn't say anything about Lin Yi leaving early and returning late. She looked at him coldly and continued watching TV with Yushu. The next afternoon, Lin Yi, who had been tormented by Xiao Xiao the whole morning, was finally free. He planned to eat with Tang Yun in the cafeteria, but Xiao Xiao followed him out of the classroom. Why are you following me? I'm going to eat with Tang Yun. Lin Yi didn't expect this little tail to follow him. I'm going to eat too. Xiao Xiao blinked. It's a good opportunity to get to know your girlfriend. We'll be seeing each other often in the future. What do you mean? You want to be by my side every time I go on a date? Lin Yi's face turned green. Chapter 456. She couldn't take it anymore. Tang Yun's expression froze when she saw Lin Yi with Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi had explained it yesterday, but she was still worried. Why would she be worried about a guy? Tang Yun rubbed her temples. It was unbelievable, but it was the truth. If it were half a year ago, she would have scoffed at girls like this, worrying about a boyfriend cheating on her. Didn't that mean she wasn't attractive enough? Tang Yun felt that she wouldn't be like those girls, worrying all the time. But now the answer came so quickly. Tang Yun regretted making fun of people before. She shouldn't have. Mocking people for being inferior was the true. The ancients wouldn't lie to themselves. Lin Yi, you've been waiting for a long time? Tang Yun tried her best to look normal as she turned to Xiao Xiao. This is your new desk mate, right? Hello, I'm Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao put her hand out. I'm Lin Yi's admirer. Ah. Tang Yun paused, shaking Xiao Xiao's hand weirdly. Admirer? Yeah, he's really cool when driving. I want to learn from him, but he hasn't taught me yet. Xiao Xiao nodded generously. Is that so? Tang Yun frowned. What did she mean by admirer? Let's go, ignore her. Lin Yi didn't know what to say to Xiao Xiao. This girl was definitely up to no good, and Lin Yi didn't have the heart to kick her, but he didn't want to talk to her either. Oh. Tang Yun felt much better after hearing Lin Yi's words, and her attitude towards Xiao Xiao wasn't as hostile anymore. We're going to eat, see you next time. No need, I'm going to the cafeteria too. Let's go together. Xiao Xiao said passionately, not caring that she'd become a third wheel. Tang Yun wanted to say something but didn't. She stood to the right of Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao stood to the left of Lin Yi. The two of them sandwiched Lin Yi, one on the left and one on the right. Tang Yun, have you ever seen your husband drive? He's really handsome. Xiao Xiao turned to Tang Yun. Hubby? Tang Yun paused but got a little angry. She wasn't angry because Xiao Xiao said Lin Yi was her husband, but because Xiao Xiao was being so vague. She didn't add you in front of the word husband, and directly said this word. Those who didn't know would think that Lin Yi was her husband, or that they had the same husband. But Tang Yun didn't want to correct her. What if it was a slip of the tongue? If he were to say it out loud, wouldn't it be very embarrassing? So he said, yes, but if you want to learn how to drive, it's best if you go to a driving school. I have a driver's license, I just want to learn drifting. Xiao Xiao said. When they got to the cafeteria, Lin Yi found a table for two in order to get rid of Xiao Xiao. This way Xiao Xiao wouldn't be able to sit with him, and Xiao Xiao indeed hadn't sat here before. She went to the food counter and lined up. Lin Yi, what's going on with that Xiao Xiao? She looks like she's really clingy? Tang Yun asked casually. What, jealous? Lin Yi could guess what she was thinking just by looking at her face. Jealous? Jealous? I'm not. Tang Yun naturally wouldn't admit it. I just think she's an idiot. Ah. Lin Yi smiled. What do you want to eat? I'll go buy it? Whatever, one meat and one vegetable. Just do as you see fit. Tang Yun wasn't a picky eater. She had a simple lunch with Lin Yi, 2 dishes for the two of them. It wasn't a waste. Lin Yi wasn't a picky eater either, so he usually went to whichever counter had the least customers. The dishes he bought were random as well. There weren't many people at the stir-fried garlic and steamed pork ribs, so Lin Yi bought one and brought it back. The two were just about to eat when they saw Xiao Xiao dragging a chair over with a big plate in her hand. She came to Lin Yi's table and placed it on it, adding a chair to the side of the table. The cafeteria was very crowded during peak hours, and so there were some folding chairs at the side of the cafeteria for extra seats when there were too many people. He didn't expect Xiao Xiao to drag a chair over herself. Lin Yi, I bought you braised chicken drumsticks, they're really good. Here you go. Xiao Xiao said as she put the chicken drumsticks in front of him. What? Lin Yi didn't think that Xiao Xiao would buy him a drumstick. Wasn't she trying to make him feel uncomfortable? Tang Yun was already feeling a little jealous. What was this girl playing at? Eat it, it's really good. Xiao Xiao said with a smile as she looked at Lin Yi. I heard from Pinliang that the drumsticks and lamb chops in the cafeteria are really good, but the lamb chops have to be made on the spot. I ordered one, but it'll take a while. You can eat the drumsticks first. Lin Yi couldn't take it anymore. Lin Yi didn't do anything to Xiao Xiao because she was a girl, but now that she kept doing weird things, Lin Yi couldn't take it anymore. Xiao Xiao, are you done or not? Lin Yi glared at Xiao Xiao. You're so mean to me. Xiao Xiao jumped at Lin Yi. Her eyes reddened as tears fell down. Why are you so mean to me? I just worship you and I want to get on your good side. I want you to teach me how to drive, what's wrong with that? Woo. Lin Yi looked at the pitiful Xiao Xiao in shock. He couldn't believe his eyes. Was this the same Xiao Xiao who was grinding her teeth trying to take pictures of him and blow him up with firecrackers? She didn't even cry when he blew her up, and now she was crying just because he yelled at her? Tang Yun had been annoyed at Xiao Xiao for being so stupid. She finally had some alone time with Lin Yi, and Xiao Xiao came over to be the third wheel. But now that she saw Xiao Xiao looking so wronged, Tang Yun's heart softened. Did she really only worship Lin Yi? Or did she have other thoughts? But worship was hard to explain and it could easily turn into affection. That was why Tang Yun was so hostile towards Xiao Xiao. But now she felt pity for her. Lin Yi, can you talk to her and make her stop crying? Why don't you teach her? Don't get tricked by her. This girl likes to act. Lin Yi curled his lips and steeled his heart, ignoring Xiao Xiao. Chapter 457. Wasting her strength, Xiao Xiao wiped her tears away and stopped crying, but she didn't leave. She propped her chin on her hand and stared at Lin Yi, her eyes filled with infatuation and tenderness. Xiao Xiao's gaze made Lin Yi a little uneasy, and Tang Yun felt even more uncomfortable. What was going on? Lin Yi was her boyfriend, and now there was an admirer sitting next to him, staring at Lin Yi. How could she stop eating? Xiao Xiao, you're not eating? Tang Yun couldn't help but ask. She couldn't kick her out, but she couldn't just let her stare at Lin Yi like this, could she? Nope, I'm happier watching Lin Yi eat than eating myself. Xiao Xiao murmured. You. Tang Yun didn't know what to say at all. It wasn't easy for them to get through this awkward moment in the cafeteria, and Lin Yi pulled Tang Yun out. Can you not let her come next time? Tang Yun couldn't help but say to Lin Yi. I feel weird with her beside me, I can't even eat. You think I want her to come? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Tang Yin pouted unhappily, but there was nothing she could do about it. She wanted to say something, but she didn't want Lin Yi to think that she was being petty. Tang Yin was starting to get annoyed with herself. Why was she getting more and more worried? Where was her courage? She could mock Lin Yi and even step on his feet, but now she had to think before she did anything. Was she really afraid that Xiao Xiao would steal Lin Yi from her? What was she thinking? Tang Yun was a little embarrassed as she scolded herself. She didn't want to think about all this nonsense anymore. There were only a few more months until the college entrance exams, but because of her family and Lin Yi, she had just finished revising her second year's curriculum. She still had the third year's curriculum to study, otherwise she wouldn't make it in time. She hurried back to the classroom and started reading the 12th grade textbooks, throwing all the random thoughts to the back of her mind. Xiao Xiao bought a drink for Lin Yi when she got back to class. Lin Yi, this is a new fruit tea. It looks really good, so I bought 2 bottles. Do you want to try it? Xiao Xiao, what are you thinking? Lin Yi took the drink from Xiao Xiao's hand but didn't drink it, putting it aside. Nothing much, I just want to be by your side. Xiao Xiao said seriously. I won't tease you anymore, don't worry. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. Lin Yi heard Xiao Xiao's nonsensical words and knew that it was pointless to talk anymore. He decided to just ignore her. Linny thought that Xiao Xiao was just a newbie for 2.5 days. If he ignored her and stopped her from carrying out her plan, she'd get bored and leave. He didn't think that Xiao Xiao would maintain this attitude for a few days, following wherever Linny went. She waited at the door when Linny went to the washroom, and when Linny went to find Tang Yun, she followed him. Tang Yun almost gritted her teeth as she started to suspect Xiao Xiao's motives. Pinliang really did manage to get a private seaplane from the beach club. It was expensive, costing tens of thousands of yuan per flight, but it wasn't much to Pinliang. It was much cheaper than buying a plane, wasn't it? He didn't mind spending a bit more money to please Meng Yao either. The plane wasn't big, but it was more than enough to fit all 40 people in the class. Pinliang didn't bother looking for a bus. It was the same for one person and it was the same for 40 people. The charter fee was fixed. When Pinliang announced that he was going to use the private plane to take everyone to the beach, the class went wild again. But be careful when you bring your personal belongings. Don't bring anything flammable or explosive. Ms. Liu started reading out the security rules. The security on a private plane wasn't as strict as normal security, but some dangerous items weren't allowed. In order to avoid trouble, Ms. Liu had to warn everyone beforehand. Most of the students didn't bring anything dangerous, so after hearing what Ms. Liu said, they didn't think it had anything to do with them. But Pinliang had to change his plans. He was going to bring a barbecue grill and some charcoal to the beach for an outdoor barbecue, but since they weren't allowed to bring a fire source on the plane, Pinliang couldn't bring those things. Xiaofu, looks like the barbecue plan has to be put on hold. Meng Yao wants to barbecue shark meat, how are we going to get it for them? Pinliang asked. Young bro, I heard there's a new type of barbecue grill. Maybe we should get one? Xiaofu suggested. It doesn't seem that expensive, only a few hundred. Really? That's not bad. Go get one, I'll leave this to you. Pinliang calmed down at Xiaofu's words. Saturday morning, Pinliang and Xiaofu arrived at school with bags of stuff. They'd planned to meet at the school gates, and the whole class would get on the bus to the airport. Pinliang wanted to drive, but Meng Yao and Yushu were taking the bus, and he didn't want to be special. He told his father's driver to go back first, and waited for the bus with his classmates. Xiao Xiao was wearing sunglasses, a hat and a small backpack. She looked like a traveling girl, pretty and cute. She attracted a lot of attention. Most of the boys' attention had been on Meng Yao and Yushu before, but now that Xiao Xiao had joined them, a part of the attention was taken away. Xiao Xiao was standing beside Lin Yi, making everyone jealous and envious, but Lin Yi didn't seem to care at all. All the boys had the urge to step up and take his place. Lin Yi, I brought a lot of good food. Xiao Xiao turned her head, her face flushed with excitement and happiness. Oh. Lin Yi replied flatly. I don't know how to swim, can you teach me? Xiao Xiao didn't lie to Lin Yi this time. She really didn't know how to swim. Oh, is that so? Lin Yi said faintly. I don't know how to swim either. Chapter 458. The consequences will be dire, the bus is here, Lin Yi reminded Xiao Xiao, ignoring her as he walked towards the bus. Xiao Xiao had no choice but to follow them, huffing and puffing. After getting in the car, she sat next to Lin Yi without even thinking about what was going on. It was supposed to be Xiaobo's seat, but Xiaobo didn't say anything when he saw that Xiao Xiao had taken it. He could only sit somewhere else. Liang bro, how do you think Xiao Xiao's going to deal with Lin Yi? She looks like she's in love with Lin Yi? Xiaofu had been paying attention to Lin Yi's movements for the past couple of days, so naturally he knew about Xiao Xiao's situation. Who knows? Pinliang was a little troubled. Maybe she's going to go all out? Let's just ignore her. It's great that she's willing to deal with Lin Yi, so Lin Yi won't come looking for trouble with us. My priority right now is to deal with Meng Yao before the college entrance exams. That's true, who cares about them? Xiaofu nodded as well. Young bro, the shark plan is ready. We can execute it anytime. Yeah, well done. Pinliang patted Xiaofu's shoulder. I'm sure Meng Yao's impression of me will change drastically after this. Inside the floating cloud bar, Sihua had a meeting with two very influential people in Songshan, Zhou Qiandi and Zhong Fabai. Sihua walked the underworld, and was known as the boss of Songshan's underworld, but his underlings were all elites. There weren't any thugs from the streets. Sihua's business was big, and he didn't need those low-level gangsters to collect protection fees or whatnot. He'd always been involved in the high-end business of the underworld, like smuggling, drug trafficking, and this time he was working with Jianghu to sell human organs. These were all big deals, much more profitable than collecting protection fees and the like. Other than Sihua, there were two other powerful people in Songshan. One was Zhou Qiandi and the other was Zhong Fabai. One of them was in the entertainment business, while the other was in the hotel business. Both of them had a lot of henchmen working for them, especially Zhou Qiandi's eldest son, Zhou Ruoguang. He was the head of the North District. Sihua didn't care about what they were playing with, and Fabai and Zhou Qiandi didn't have the ability to play with things as advanced as Sihua, so they didn't interfere with each other's business. But this time, Sihua had no choice but to cooperate with these two. The first person Sihua talked to was Zhou Qiandi because as far as he was concerned, Qiandi was much stronger than Fabai. Qiandi's son was the boss of the North District. Brother Tiandi, I'm really sorry to have made you rush over so early in the morning. Sihua had a favor to ask of Qiandi now, so his attitude was much warmer than before. Qiandi's arrival was reported to him by his underlings, and he quickly stood up to welcome him. This young master is... Haha Sihua bro, this is my son Zhou Ruoming. I brought him here to see the world. Qiandi was a little disappointed in his eldest son, Zhou Ruoguang. That guy was a pushover, not even as good as his younger son, Zhou Ruoming. As a result, Zhou Ruoming's successor was most likely going to be his younger son. Qiandi changed his strategy, and decided not to let Zhou Ruoming study blindly. Instead he was preparing to train him as his successor. So it's young Master Zhou. Ah, you're quite the talent. Sihua nodded with a smile. Thank you for the compliment, Uncle Sihua. Zhou Ruoming was without a doubt very excited. His father was finally willing to train him, and this was his first time out, and he was bringing him to meet such an important person. As for Sihua, Zhou Ruoming had heard of him a long time ago. He was the big boss of Songshan's underworld. Sihua bro, I wonder if you have any business with me? Tiandi and Sihua had always minded their own business, so their relationship wasn't too bad. Tiandi bro, let's not beat around the bush. I'm here today because I have a business with you. Sihua didn't beat around the bush. They were both in the underworld after all, and there was no need to beat around the bush. What kind of business? Tiandi had been depressed for the past couple of days. Linny had said that he wouldn't bother them anymore, but he was still worried. Now that there was business, he felt a little better. I'm sure you know who I am. Sihua said with a smile. One of the juniors of the big boss behind me wants to start a real estate company here, but he's lacking some manpower. Would you be interested, Tiandi bro? Manpower? You mean? Tiandi paused. Wouldn't his family's business skyrocket if he could form a relationship with the big boss behind Sihua? But the point was, what did the guy see in him? Tiandi knew his own limitations. He was an expert in the entertainment business, but he'd never been in the real estate business before. Demolition. Sihua smiled. You know that we'll need some tricks if we want to get a demolition done at a low price. I don't have the manpower to do that, so I wanted to work with you, Tiandi bro. Demolition? That's not a problem. Tiandi let out a breath of relief. Demolition wasn't easy at all. Wouldn't it be enough to let Zhou Ruoguang lead a group of people to threaten those relocated households? So you're saying that you'll agree to this, Tiandi bro? Sihua was quite confident in this. After all, it wasn't a difficult job for Tiandi, and it should be something he was good at. It shouldn't be a problem. Tiandi nodded. Which piece of land does the young master want to develop? The slums? Sihua said. It's a big area, it'll be very promising. Oh, the slums? That's a good place, no problem. Tiandi was about to agree when Zhou Ruoming pulled him back. Dad, we can't do this. Zhou Ruoming was afraid that his father would agree on impulse. Ruoming, what are you doing? Tiandi paused, a little displeased. What's wrong with you, kid? Aren't you usually quite brave? Why are you afraid to do illegal things now? Dad. Listen to me, I don't dare do things that aren't illegal. It's Tang Yun, she lives in the slums. Zhou Ruoming explained, panicking. He'd been pursuing Tang Yun, and naturally he'd done a lot of research on her family background. It was normal that he knew she lived in the slums. Chapter 459. Chapter 459. Occupied. What if he was stupid enough to bulldoze Tang Yun's house? He'd probably end up in the morgue the next day, wouldn't he? Even someone as strong as Yan Qiyuan was taken care of by Lin Yi. What else could he do against Lin Yi? Tiandi wasn't afraid of offending Sihua at this point. The worst that could happen was that their relationship would worsen. It wasn't a big deal. Tiandi stood up abruptly. Sihua bro, I can't do this. You should find someone else, I'm sorry. With that, Tiandi pulled Zhou Ruoming away without another word. What he was afraid of was what would happen if Lin Yi found out that he was planning to demolish Tang Yin's house with Sihua. What if Lin Yi came looking for trouble? Tiandi cursed his unluck. He shouldn't have come if he'd known about this. Sihua frowned as he watched Tiandi and Tiandi's disappearing silhouettes. What the hell was that? Is there something wrong with him? I'm asking you guys out of respect. It's fine if you don't want the money. Zihua bro, I heard them mention a name, maybe it's someone they know? Jianghu said. Let's not bother with them, call Zhong Fubai over. Time waits for no man. Master Bing will be here soon. We need to get the real estate company up and running before he gets here. Zihua said. Right, how's Jianghu Bang? He's registered a real estate company himself, and he's planning to give all the shares to Master Bing. Jianghu said. He's pretty smart. Let's leave him 10% of the shares and let him stay as the CEO of the company. Zihua said after some thought. Master Bing's just playing around, he needs someone to help him manage the company. He's Zhong Fubai's relative, it'll be easy to use him. Alright, I'll talk to Jianghu Bang later. Jianghu nodded and went to call Zhong Fubai. Fubai, on the other hand, didn't have as many concerns as Tiendi. He was looking for a new backer now that Gubang was gone, and Fubai agreed without a second thought when he heard that Zihua wanted to recruit him and Gubang to run this real estate company, and that it was for the nephew of the boss behind the scenes. Due to the specifications of the private seaplane, it didn't have a luggage compartment so it couldn't be checked in. Some dangerous goods weren't allowed to be brought onto the plane. After going through the security check, the class boarded the plane under the guidance of Teacher Lu. It was the first time for many students to take a plane, and their eyes were full of novelty and excitement. Even if they had taken a plane before, they had never taken an amphibious plane, so no matter who it was, they were very excited. In this kind of small plane, the front was better, but the seats near the back would be very bumpy. Fortunately, after the class sat on the plane, only the first few rows were filled, and there were only some luggage in the back. Pinliang and Xiaofu were getting ready to sit in the luxurious seats at the front. The first row was very spacious, and there were 4 seats in total. 2 were for Mingyao and Yushu, and the other 2 were for Pinliang himself. Pinliang and Xiaofu were just about to sit down after putting down their luggage when someone behind them pushed them, almost causing them to fall. Move aside, don't block the way. It was Lin Yi, who was already sitting in the seat that used to be Pinliang's. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, followed Lin Yi and sat in Xiaofu's seat. Pinliang's face turned green. He wanted to shoo Lin Yi away, but he didn't dare. He wanted to shoo Xiao Xiao away, but he didn't dare either. Just when he was at a loss as to what to do, Yushu spoke up. Liang Yi Yao Yao said that she likes brave guys. Only those who can sit at the back of the plane without a change in expression or heart palpitations are the bravest. Yushu naturally didn't want Pinliang to sit in the front. She wanted to see what would happen between Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao, so she found an excuse to shoo Pinliang away. Is that so? Pinliang found a way out of Yushu's words. Xiaofu, let's sit at the back then. The first row is for cowardly men. There was only one man in the first row, Lin Yi, so Pinliang's words were directed at Lin Yi. But he regretted it immediately. Wasn't he just being a prick? Why did he have to say that? Pinliang let out a sigh of relief when he saw that Lin Yi didn't seem to be looking for trouble. He quickly walked to the back of the cabin with Xiaofu and sat down at the very back. Since it was a low-altitude private plane, there wouldn't be too much of a conflict with commercial airliners. It didn't take long for the plane to take off. Pinliang and Xiaofu had never been on a private plane like this before. They thought that the back of the plane would be the same as a commercial airliner, but Pinliang only realized how uncomfortable it was when they took off. The seat was as bumpy as it could get, and Pinliang's face turned scarily pale. Xiaofu wasn't much better off either. Liang bro, maybe we should sit closer to the front? This is too uncomfortable. Xiaofu couldn't take it anymore. You can go if you want to. What would Mingyao think of me if I went? She'd think I'm a coward, wouldn't she? Pinliang was uncomfortable as well, but he gritted his teeth and persevered. He'd already said that he'd be a laughingstock if he backed out now. Pinliang was a laughingstock now, but he didn't want more of them. If he could still grit his teeth and persevere, then so be it. He only wanted to get to the beach as soon as possible. Pinliang wasn't leaving and Xiaofu couldn't either. He could only endure it. It was his first time on a plane and he didn't have much experience. Naturally, he was worse than Pinliang. Lin Yi didn't bother with Xiao Xiao either. No matter what she said, Lin Yi only replied with, "Oh, and is that so?" These meaningless words made Xiao Xiao very depressed. "Shoo, what do you think Xiao Xiao's up to?" Mingyao had noticed that something was wrong with Xiao Xiao these past few days. "I don't know, but I think she's in love with Shield Bro. Why else would she be so nice to Shield Bro?" Yushu mumbled as she chewed on her snacks. "She's into Lin Yi? How's that possible? Isn't she trying to cause trouble for Lin Yi?" Mingyao frowned as she humphed coldly. Lin Yi wasn't some kind of hot steamed bun. Why would anyone be into him? "Are you jealous, Yao Yao?" Yushu giggled. "Me? What does it have to do with me?" Mengyao humphed, not caring about what Linny said. Chapter 460. She threw up, ate again. Mengyao hesitated, a slight frown on her face. Why don't you go listen then? Oh, okay, Yushu said with a smile. But Yushu pricked up her ears for a long time, unable to hear what Xiao Xiao and Linny were talking about. Why weren't they talking either? Linny closed his eyes and pretended to doze off. Xiao Xiao said a few words to Lin Yi, and since he wasn't paying attention, she could only listen to her MP3 player. Shield bro. Yushu wasn't worried that Xiao Xiao would hear what she called Lin Yi, since she knew about her relationship with Lin Yi. She wouldn't have waited until now if she'd wanted to. Lin Yi opened his eyes and looked at Yushu, confused. It's nothing. Yushu thought that Lin Yi was asleep, so she wanted to wake him up and listen to his conversation with Xiao Xiao. Now that Lin Yi was awake, she was fine. Lin Yi looked at Yushu, confused, and shook his head. Lin Yi, are you hungry? I have some biscuits here. Xiao Xiao asked, seeing that Lin Yi wasn't pretending to be asleep anymore. Oh, eat it yourself. Lin Yi replied faintly as he looked out the window. Xiao Xiao pouted. What was that supposed to mean? He'd answer whenever Yushu called him, and ignore her when she talked to him. Hey, how much do they pay you? What do you mean how much? Lin Yi blinked. Aren't you their follower and bodyguard? How much do they pay you every month? Xiao Xiao asked. Tens of thousands, I guess. Lin Yi said vaguely. Tens of thousands? Xiao Xiao was startled. Why was it so much money? Her family was rich, but her allowance was only 10,000 a month. She'd wanted to say that she'd hire Lin Yi twice the amount of money Mengyao was paying him, but she couldn't bring herself to say it now. Bullshit, she said hatefully. Lin Yi could guess what Xiao Xiao was thinking. I work for her father, follower is just a guest. Oh. Xiao Xiao nodded. It wasn't impossible for Pengzhan to spend that much money if it was him. Xiao Xiao, if you want to learn how to drive, I don't have much time right now, so you don't have to follow me all the time. There's no point in following me, Lin Yi said, wanting to make things clear. No. It's fine if you don't want to teach me. I just want you to influence me. Xiao Xiao said. That way I'll be more and more like you. Lin Yi was taken aback. What kind of bullshit theory was that? Imperceptible influence? He was speechless. Do what you want then. Knowing that Xiao Xiao wouldn't get through to him, Lin Yi didn't bother with the bullshit, follow her if she wanted to. She'd probably get annoyed after a few days anyway. Alright. Xiao Xiao was very happy that Lin Yi agreed. Her eyes turned into crescents. Here's a biscuit. Lin Yi took the biscuit and put it on the table in front of him. I heard it. Yushu lowered her voice to Mengyao. Then what did they say? Mengyao asked. Xiao Xiao told Shield Bro to teach her how to drive, so she follows him every day. Yushu said. I see. Let her do what she wants then. Mengyao naturally lost interest after hearing that Xiao Xiao was just going to Lin Yi to learn how to drive. Xiaofu's face was getting paler and paler. He couldn't take it anymore. Liang bro, I can't take it anymore, I want to throw up. Hold it in a little longer. We're almost there. Pin Liang wanted to throw up as well, but he was in a better state than Xiaofu. He often traveled on planes and he'd even been on those smaller planes before. They were better than this but not by much. I can't take it anymore, I really can't take it anymore. Xiaofu yelled suddenly. Waiter, open the window. I'm going to throw up. Xiaofu's yelling attracted the attention of the students in front of him, and Pin Liang felt his face heat up. How embarrassing. He wanted to kick Xiaofu off the plane. This is a plane, not a car. The window's sealed, I can't open it. Then what do we do? I'm going to throw up. Xiaofu panicked. Hold it in. Just hold it in for a little while. Pin Liang raged. Blurg, blurg. Xiaofu quickly covered his mouth with his hand, holding it in for a while before letting out a sigh of relief. Fu, you can hold it in? Pin Liang breathed in relief after seeing that Xiaofu wasn't throwing up anymore. I did, but I swallowed it back down. Xiaofu said. Blurg. Pin Liang's stomach churned. He swallowed it back down again? Why was it so disgusting? Pin Liang had been able to hold it in at first, but he couldn't hold it in anymore after what Xiaofu was doing. He opened his mouth and wanted to puke, but when he looked up he saw that everyone in the class was looking at Xiaofu as well as Yushu. He was in a difficult position, but the thing in his stomach was already in his throat. He had no choice but to spit it out just like Xiaofu did. Pin Liang made up his mind and spat it out, then swallowed it back. Burp. Pin Liang burped and waved at Yushu with a smile on his face. Look at me, I'm fine. That Xiaofu guy just can't do it. Pin Liang sighed in relief after seeing that no one could tell. Pin Liang finally let out a sigh of relief. He was the smartest one of them all. Even though he swallowed back what he was about to spit out, no one could tell. Liang bro, my stomach's not feeling well, I want to have a bowel movement. Xiaofu said after a while. Why are you so troublesome? Why do you feel like throwing up and having a bowel movement? Pin Liang was starting to panic. You can't blame me, Liang bro. I didn't manage to spit it out, so I swallowed it back down. Of course I have to poop. Xiaofu said weakly. There's a washroom up front. Go yourself. Pin Liang said helplessly. Xiaofu sprinted into the washroom. Pin Liang was starting to regret letting Xiaofu sit at the back of the plane as well. It was ruining his image. But why was his stomach so uncomfortable? Pin Liang froze abruptly. He'd swallowed the thing back down. Was he going to have a bowel movement as well? Pin Liang jumped at the thought and ran to the washroom. He only remembered that Xiaofu was still inside when he reached the door. He knocked on the door. Xiaofu, hurry up. Liang bro, what's wrong? Xiaofu said weakly. I need to use the washroom too, hurry up. Pin Liang said urgently. I'm pooping right now. Xiaofu said. Chapter 461. Here comes the shark. Xiaofu was panicking, but he couldn't just pull up his pants in the middle of his diarrhea, could he? Liang bro, wait a minute, I'll be done soon. Pin Liang was panicking. The toilet was right in front of the first row. Wasn't Xiaofu trying to ruin his image on purpose? It was one thing for him to go straight into the toilet, but Mengyao would definitely laugh at him if he had to hold his stomach and walk around like that, wouldn't she? Pfft. Pin Liang let out a loud fart, feeling a little embarrassed. His face reddened as he snuck a glance at Mengyao. It stinks, Yao Yao, I'm going to faint. Yushu jumped up, waving her hands around. Liangyi, hurry up and stuff a fart stopper. Are you trying to suffocate me and Yao Yao? Pin Liang's fart was only heard by the students in the first few rows, but Yushu's words made him the center of attention in the cabin. Pin Liang was panicking. He was just about to explain when his butt popped out uncontrollably again. This time he'd pooped out of his pants due to his excitement. Pin Liang, are you doing this on purpose? Yushu was going crazy as she pinched her nose and ran to the back. It was too smelly. Mengyao frowned in disgust as well. She didn't know what Pin Liang was doing, not stopping even after getting on the plane. She stood up and followed Yushu. Xiao Xiao was in the middle of eating a biscuit when she spat it out. She subconsciously ran to the back as well. Linny didn't mind. Linny had lived in smellier places than this before, but Pin Liang's actions were indeed disgusting. Since the mist was gone, Linny stood up and followed. Xiaofu finally came out of the toilet and Pin Liang ran in with his hands on his crotch. The sound of running water came from the toilet. Pin Liang didn't bring a change of pants, so he had to wash them in the toilet. But before the plane landed, Pin Liang didn't have the nerve to come out of the toilet. Pin Liang was the one who organized the event, so even though everyone thought it was funny to see him in a wet pair of pants, they didn't laugh at him. Pin Liang was comforted by that. I'm sorry, Liang bro, I didn't do it on purpose. Xiaofu apologized, a little embarrassed that he'd messed things up. Forget it. Pin Liang looked at his only subordinate and didn't know what to say. He waved his hand and said generously, just do your best to pretend to be a shark later. Don't worry, I've practiced several times in the bathtub at home. There won't be a problem. Gao Xiaofu patted his chest confidently. Pin Liang nodded. Whether or not he could save his face would depend on this. If the glorious image of him fighting the shark was seen by everyone, the incident of him pooping his pants would be nothing. The plane landed on the dedicated water parking lane in the VIP area of the beach. After the plane stopped, a speedboat came over and sent the students on the plane to the beach. Pin Liang had booked the entire VIP area, so there weren't any other visitors here. The water was very clear, and between the beach and the water was a shallow area of pebbles and sand. There were some sea snails, crabs and fishes in the water. It seemed like the water here was quite nice. Lin Yi wasn't in a hurry to change into his swimsuit like the other students. He sat on the beach, quietly watching the little creatures in the water. It was rare to see water this clear in the city and tourist areas. Lin Yi felt like he was back home. When he was young, Lin Yi and Air Gooden would often play at the beach. Of course, Old Man forced Lin Yi to train in the water most of the time, and Air Gooden. Lin Yi really doubted his body structure. It was hard for him to keep his balance in the waves, but that guy was like an iron tower. Why don't you go change into your swimsuit? Xiao Xiao saw that Lin Yi was sitting on the beach, spacing out. She followed him, curious. Why would I change into a swimsuit if I don't know how to swim? Lin Yi said faintly. Why don't you go? I want to be by your side. Xiao Xiao said matter-of-factly. Lin Yi shook his head. His thoughts were interrupted, and he turned his attention to the girl who had changed into her swimsuit. An 18-year-old girl with a petite body had already matured. This was a good opportunity for his eyes to feast on. He wondered what the Miss and Yushu would look like in their swimsuits. Compared to Mengyao, Lin Yi was more excited to see Yushu in her swimsuit. He'd seen pictures of them in swimsuits, but it wasn't as good as seeing them in person. But what disappointed Lin Yi was that Mengyao and Yushu didn't change into their swimsuits. Instead, they set up a sun umbrella on the beach and sat under it, taking out the snacks from their bags. Were these two girls here for a picnic? It made sense. Mengyao and Yushu went to the beach quite a lot, and his computer's hard drive was filled with pictures of the two, many of which were taken at the beach. There don't seem to be any sharks here? Yushu said, disappointed as she looked at the calm water. This is a tourist area. Of course there won't be sharks. Mengyao said. That Liangyi, how dare he lie to me? He even roasted shark meat for me. I don't believe him anymore. Yushu said angrily. Even if there was shark meat, would you dare eat it? Mengyao said, curling her lips. Ugh. Yushu felt disgusted at the memory of Pinliang pulling up his pants on the plane. She wouldn't dare eat shark meat if Pinliang really did roast it for her, would she? Xiaofu saw that most of the students had gone into the water, and so he tied the shark fins on his back and dove into the water quietly. He circled around the water a couple of times, panicking when he realized that no one was paying attention to him. He didn't dare get too close to the other students as the water in the shallow water was very clear. He'd be discovered if he got too close. But he couldn't just shout, I'm a shark. A shark is coming. Could he? Pinliang was panicking as well. He wanted to be the hero of the shark fight, so he couldn't be the one to discover the shark first. It'd be best if someone else discovered it first, scaring the other students to the shore so that Pinliang could show off his skills and kill the shark.